Chapter 234. The moment Zishang appeared, Gong Shifan already guessed that he was the famous expert in Alchemy City. He took a step forward and smiled at Yi Jioga. "You must be Master Yun's guard, Yi Zi." "Yes." Yi Jioga nodded helplessly. "I heard that Brother Yi Zi defeated a demonic cultivator by yourself in Alchemy City. You do live up to your reputation." Gong Shifan praised. "I heard that Master Gong's team is made up of elites from various sects, but they don't live up to their reputation." Zishang's tone was full of disdain. Gong Shifan frowned and looked at Yi Jioga. "Aren't you going to control your guard?" "Yi Zi, stop it." Yi Jioga's scolding was not threatening at all. She could tell that Zishang was here to cause trouble. How could she, the fake master, control him? "Miss, these people are too useless. Let's not waste time here." Zishang added fuel to the fire. "Brother Yi Zi, be careful with your words." Gong Shifan's voice turned cold. Though he really wanted to rope this expert in, he couldn't pretend that he didn't hear such a merciless slap in the face. "Brat, don't be too arrogant. If you're so good, let's fight." Wang Haoqiang shouted. "Beat him to death." The others also shouted. "With just you guys?" Zishang smirked and said in disdain, "Since you're looking for a fight, there's no need to take turns. Come at me together." "Brat, how arrogant. Do you really think we can't do anything to you?" Wang Haoqiang didn't have a bottom line either. He immediately called out, "Everyone, let's go together and show him how powerful we are. Kill him." Qiao Shaohua was the first to respond to Wang Haoqiang's call. The others also took the opportunity to surround him. None of the spiritualists in this team were idiots. Even when they were arrogant and prideful, they knew how to judge the situation. Everyone had heard about the battle in Alchemy City. This man who killed a demonic cultivator was definitely not simple. They didn't have much confidence in a one-on-one fight, but if they surrounded him, they would definitely win. The only ones who did not gather were Nan Gongli, Bailey Moyun, Yu Lingjun and the other female spiritualists. "Third uncle?" Gong Honglei looked worriedly at Yi Jioga and Zishang, who were surrounded in the middle. "Since Brother Yi Zi is so interested, let's play with him," Gong Shifan said calmly, as if the scene in front of him was just a game. Yi Zi had humiliated him so much just now, so he could use Wang Haoqiang and the others to test Yi Zi's strength. "Young miss, may I borrow your spirit weapon?" Zishang pretended to be respectful as he spoke to Yi Jioga. Keep pretending, keep pretending." Yi Jioga unsheathed the lightning snake illusionary whip with a dark expression and heavily handed it over to Zishang. Then, he walked to the side. Zishang shook the whip and said to Wang Haoqiang and the others, "Come. Go." Wang Haoqiang immediately rushed forward. In his hand was a scythe-shaped spirit weapon. With a light wave, countless flat green wind blades shot out. Qiao Shaohua's spirit weapon was a medicine pestle. It emitted a green light and instantly turned into countless vines that fixed Zishang in place. The other spiritualists were overjoyed and did not have any intention of cooperating. They ordered their spirit weapons to attack Zishang. In the blink of an eye, the colorful spiritual light surged toward Zishang. Yu Lingjun stood at the side and watched nervously. Although Zishang's words were very infuriating, she could not bear to see such a handsome man being defeated. The spiritual lights exploded and the light dissipated. Zishang, who was supposed to be battered and exhausted, was nowhere to be seen. Where did he go? Wang Haoqiang quickly looked around. There. Qiao Shaohua's eyes were sharp. He had already seen Zishang appear beside Yi Jioga. "Why did you come back?" Yi Jioga looked at Zishang cautiously. Could it be that he did not have enough demonic power and wanted to drag her down to fight with him? "I came to invite you to watch the show." Zishang's smile was casual and lazy, but the faint domineering aura was not to be ignored. He did not move at all, but the thunder snake illusion whip in his hand suddenly burst into a dazzling light, then it turned into a giant python and rushed out. Smash it! Wang Haoqiang roared and took the lead to attack the thunder snake illusion whip. Xiao Xiaohua and the other spiritualists also followed behind him and attacked at the same time. The bright thunder snake illusion whip hung high in the air and could not be avoided at all. After being hit by countless spiritual lights, the light immediately dissipated. "TSK, I thought he had some ability, but he is only a so-so." Wang Haoqiang was proud. This spirit weapon was the lifeblood of a spiritualist. Smashing his weapon was no different from smashing him. Xiao Xiaohua did not relax his vigilance and kept staring at Zishang's movements. Seeing him raise his hand to make a strange sign, he immediately shouted, "Be careful." The thunder snake illusion whip exploded again and shot countless silver lights towards the spiritualists present. This explosion was too fast. Many spiritualists did not even have time to react and were pierced by these lights, making bursts of screams. "You're crazy." Wang Haoqiang's reaction was the fastest. He instantly dissipated 2 lights, but was still injured by the light. His face and body were instantly left with countless wounds. Xiao Xiaohua was the most miserable. His face was swept by several lights and was covered in blood. It looked very terrifying. "Stop!" Yu Lingjun immediately screamed. Gong Shifan also could not bear it anymore. He activated his spiritual power and shot a thumb-thick spiritual light towards the thunder snake illusion whip. At this time, Zishang waved his hand. The thunder snake illusion whip flew back to his hand like lightning and returned to its whip form. "Brother Yi Zi, it is only a spar. Why do you have to hurt people like this?" Gong Shifan looked at Zishang with a sullen face. Although he did not like Wang Haoqiang and the others, he was the one who was embarrassed when they were beaten so badly. "It is only a flesh wound. If you can't even endure such a small injury, then don't go to the Blood Cloud Peak to die." Zishang provoked. Gong Shifan was immediately speechless. Zishang returned the thunder snake illusion whip to Yi Jioga and shook his head, "Just a bunch of trash. How dare you look down on others? You really don't know what you're talking about." Yi Jioga was startled. Could it be that this guy specially stood up for her? "Senior Yi Zi, although our cultivation is not as good as yours, you don't have to keep saying that we are trash," Gong Honglei said with dissatisfaction. "I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them." Zishang pointed with his finger and accurately landed on Wang Haoqiang, Xiao Xiaohua and the others. Wang Haoqiang, Xiao Xiaohua and the others were angry but did not dare to say anything. If they could not see the difference between them and Zishang, then there was no need for them to continue living. "Master Gong, I still have something to do. Goodbye." Yi Jioga saw that the situation was extremely awkward and did not dare to stay any longer. Gong Shifan did not urge them to stay and directly sent them off. Chapter 235. Yi Jioga returned to the mansion gloomily. Seeing Zishang's lazy expression, she couldn't help but poke his chest angrily. "How can I cooperate with Gong Shifan in the future if you make our relationship so stiff?" Although Zishang helped her teach those arrogant guys a lesson, she still had to think about the big picture. Other than Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li, the others are useless. It's better to count on the bloodthirsty ancestor to surrender than count on them. Zishang shrugged and spread his hands. All right, you're right." To be honest, Yi Jioga didn't have much hope for Wang Haoqiang and the other spiritualists. "I forgot to ask about the change of surname." Zishang blinked. "No need to ask, I'll solve it myself." Changing surname was just a small matter. The most important thing now was to inform Juni Chen and Yi Yu about the break with the Spiritualist Alliance. Juni Chen and Yi Yu came quickly after receiving the news. Hearing about the break with the Spiritualist Alliance, Juni Chen said expressionlessly, "I never thought about counting on those useless people." Ever since he successfully refined the bloodthirsty ancestor's life essence, he was full of confidence in his revenge. He didn't need outsiders to participate. "We have the same goal as the Spiritualist Alliance. There's no need to go against them. It's always good to have one more helper." Yi Yu's attitude was more conservative. "That's right. That's why I want to send someone to go with Gong Xifan's team. The others will go with me to Blood Cloud Peak." Yi Jiuge had the same attitude as Yi Yu. No matter how weak the Spiritualist Alliance was, they had to make good use of them. "Don't call me, I'm not going." Juni Chen refused decisively. "Young miss, I want to go with you." Yi Yu also quickly expressed. Yi Jiuge was in a dilemma. He couldn't send Zishang. "Actually, there's no need for that. Don't you have 3 goo worms? Just summon them if there's any movement." Juni Chen said indifferently. "Use your life goo to summon them?" Yi Jiuge's eyes brightened. "Other than my life goo, there's also your mother goo. You can summon them too." Juni Chen raised many batches of goo worms but only one mother goo. This mother goo's charm was unimaginable. It was even more powerful than his life goo. "If you didn't mention it, I would have forgotten about it." Yi Jiuge suddenly realized. He opened the drawer and took out his specially made bag of spirit beasts. The bag was divided into 3 compartments. The leftmost one was the treasure-seeking scorpion couple, the middle one was the pink mother parasite, and the right one was the sleeping fat black rat. Yi Jiuge took out the pink goo bug from the cloth bag and saw that its fat lower body had started to turn into a cocoon. Only its round little head was still sticking out. As soon as they saw Yi Jiuge, they stretched out their necks and squeaked like little birds crying piteously for food. "Master, I'm so hungry. Sorry, I forgot about you." Yi Jiuge apologized as he crushed the cherry pill and fed it to it. The pink goo worm ate 20 cherry pills with a blissful expression before it reluctantly formed a pink cocoon with its round belly. It evolved so quickly. Juni Chen's eyes flashed with surprise. Is this good or bad? Yi Jiuge had never raised a goo worm before, so he couldn't really tell the situation in front of him. Of course it's good. The reason why mother parasites are hard to cultivate is because they develop very slowly and have a high mortality rate. Normally, mother parasites need at least 5 years to be able to evolve. Yours evolved in less than half a month. You must have fed it something good. Juni Chen looked at Yi Jiuge with an accusatory gaze. It was as if Yi Jiuge had secretly left something good for the mother parasite. You saw it just now. I just fed it some cherry pills. Yi Jiuge said innocently. Actually, she had already guessed that the pink mother goo's evolution was related to the fat black rat. The treasure-seeking scorpion thought that the bag was too small and wanted to bring its wife to a more comfortable place. However, the female scorpion said that living in the bag was very comfortable and that her internal injuries were much better. This bag was made of the most common cotton cloth, and there was nothing special about it. The only thing special about this place was the fat black rat that was in deep sleep. However, there was no need to tell Juni Chen about this. This purebred goo baby's life goal was to revive the blood cloak Miao tribe's glory. If he knew that the fat black rat could promote the evolution of goo worms, he would do anything to snatch it. Humph, you must have added something to it. Although Juni Chen was dissatisfied, he only grumbled and did not ask further. In his mind, Yi Jiuge was the world's #1 alchemist. It was not surprising that he could refine anything good. The mother parasite was his goo worm. It was normal to take care of it first. When will this little mother parasite complete its evolution? Yi Jiuge asked as he put the mother parasite's pink cocoon back into the bag. That's hard to say. It depends on its situation. Juni Chen did not dare to make a conclusion about the goo worms that Yi Jiuge raised. If that's the case, I can only rely on you to summon the 3 goo worms. However, be careful when you summon them. Don't let anyone find out. Yi Jiuge warned. It was immoral to privately control other people's goo worms. If Bailey Moyun and the rest knew about it, they would immediately abandon the 3 goo worms. Do I need you to tell me that? Juni Chen naturally knew that the goo worms that were sold could not be summoned randomly. Unless he had no other choice, he would not use this method. Hurry up and prepare. We'll leave in 3 days. Yi Jiuge said. All right. Yi Yu and Juni Chen nodded at the same time. They had been looking forward to this day. Blood Cloud Peak. Bloodthirsty ancestor called Skinny Monkey over and threw him a letter. Take a look. Yes. Skinny Monkey carefully opened the letter and quickly skimmed through it. This letter recorded the Spiritualist Alliance's every move in detail. It included the name list of their members, their respective sects, the time of departure, and even the pills and goo worms that Yi Jiuge sent. There was even a name written in red, Yi Zi. Killing Xiong Yunhu in one move in Alchemy City after he consumed the blood pearl showed that his strength was unfathomable. He could not be ignored. What do you think? Bloodthirsty ancestor closed his eyes and asked casually. This Gong Xiaofan has a high cultivation. Together with Yi Zi, I'm afraid they won't be easy to deal with. Skinny Monkey nervously replied. Actually, it wasn't just difficult to deal with. It was practically impossible to defend against. Skinny Monkey originally thought that with the mountain guarding formation, even if the Spiritualist Alliance attacked, they would not be able to return. He didn't expect them to have such a clear understanding of the mountain guarding formation and even prepared pills and goo worms. If the mountain guarding formation was broken, no one would be able to resist. At the very least, he had already begun to ponder how to escape with Yi Yunji if the mountain guarding formation could not hold. In the end, Bloodthirsty sect was only a force established by Bloodthirsty ancestor alone. The disciples in the sect were uneven, and no one would risk their lives for the ancestor. Chapter 236. You don't need to worry about this. I have a way to deal with it. Tell the people to keep an eye on the protective formation. If anything goes wrong, I will use you to refine it. Bloodthirsty ancestor opened his eyes. His gaze was like lightning that could see through people's minds. Skinny Monkey shivered inwardly. He hurried to answer, Forefather, don't worry. I will keep an eye on the protective formation. Do it well. I won't mistreat you. Bloodthirsty ancestor nodded. After a while, he asked, how's Su Junqing recently? Su Junqing has been very active in the sect. He has made friends everywhere. He has collected a lot of blood essences, so he has a lot of connections. He's generous. Bloodthirsty ancestor's dry face showed a strange smile. I also received his gift. Forefather, please take a look. Skinny Monkey took out a palm-sized glass bottle from his pocket and respectfully presented it to Bloodthirsty ancestor. The red liquid inside the glass bottle was very viscous. It was the essence of human blood. If he is so kind, then you should accept it. Bloodthirsty ancestor waved his hand. He didn't really like this kind of thing. Yes. Skinny Monkey put away the glass bottle with a smile. How is blood slave number 13? Bloodthirsty ancestor asked again. I don't know how to say it. Although Su Junqing treats blood slave number 13 well, he seems to be afraid of her. I don't know what's going on. Skinny Monkey and Yi Yunji were very secretive. He could pretend that he didn't know about the grudge between Su Junqing and Yi Yunji. Bloodthirsty ancestor didn't expect that Skinny Monkey would be so daring to covet his blood slave. Thus, he didn't notice anything strange. He just ordered, "Keep an eye on Su Junqing." "Alright, you can leave now." "Yes." Skinny Monkey bowed and left. Bloodthirsty Ancestor sat on the big chair. After pondering for a while, he patted the armrest and spun it. Immediately, a dark passage appeared under the chair. Bloodthirsty Ancestor walked to the end of the dark passage. He saw a red platform that was half the height of a human. A skull as white as jade was placed on it. The top of the skull was lifted. There was a faint bloodstain on it. It was obvious that it was used often. Forefather Bloodthirsty bit his finger and squeezed some blood onto his skull. The eyes of the skull immediately flickered with two balls of fire, and a ball of light shot out from the top of the skull, hitting the opposite wall. In the light, a little boy wearing a black robe appeared. He looked to be about 5 or 6 years old. He looked quite cute, but his pair of dangling tips looked very arrogant. He looked very comical sitting on a red chair that was 3 times bigger than him. "Greetings, Elder Qiu," Forefather Bloodthirsty bowed respectfully to the boy. "What business do you have with me?" the little boy asked impatiently. "Elder Qiu, the people from the Spiritualist Alliance somehow heard that our bloodthirsty sect is cultivating blood lotuses. They've sent a small team to snatch them. I'm afraid that I'll delay Elder Qiu's business, so I came to report." Bloodthirsty Forefather didn't dare to say that he had plotted against the City Lord of Alchemy City to attract this attack. Instead, he pushed all the blame onto the Spiritualist Alliance. F***ck, those guys from the Spiritualist Alliance actually dared to covet my blood lotus, they are courting death. The little boy immediately flew into a rage and slammed the chair he was sitting on. He wanted nothing more than to rush out and kill the Spiritualist Alliance. "I've had a problem with my cultivation recently. The Spiritualist Alliance is coming at me fiercely, and I'm afraid I can't stop them. Please help me, Elder Qiu," Bloodthirsty Forefather cried. He was just trying to coax Chou's senator. He hadn't been able to finish his cultivation perfectly last time, but it didn't affect him too much. Fighting the Spiritualist Alliance wasn't a problem. However, he had always been a sly old fox, so he naturally had to find help for such a difficult task. "No problem, I'll send someone to help right now. When the time comes, we'll capture the Spiritualist Alliance in one fell swoop. They'll be perfect fertilizer for my blood lotus," the little boy shouted arrogantly. "Then I'll wait for the envoy's arrival." Bloodthirsty Forefather was extremely excited and moved to tears. "Just you wait. They'll be here in 2 days at the latest." The little boy waved his hand, and the image immediately disappeared. Bloodthirsty Forefather finally straightened his back, a satisfied expression on his face. With Corp sect's help, no matter how well prepared the Spiritualist Alliance was, they would still die. In Corp sect, thousands of miles away. After Chou Sun closed the image with Bloodthirsty Forefather, he sent out a communication talisman and shouted, "Yuyue, come in." A moment later, a lazy voice came from outside Forefather Chou Sun's cave. "Elder, are you calling me?" "Yes, come in." Chou Sun responded. The stone door of the cave opened, and a fragrant wind wafted in. Then, a beautiful woman walked in. It was Chou Sun's eldest disciple, Yuyue. She had a pair of limpid eyes, and when she looked at people, it was as if she wanted to see into their hearts. She wore a dark red chest-length dress, revealing a large portion of her fair skin, and was full of charm. Although Chou Sun had turned into a child because of his cultivation technique, he still admired women like a grown man. He really liked this charming eldest disciple. Disciple greets elder. What instructions does elder have for disciple? Yuyue bowed, and the deep cleavage on her chest dazzled people's eyes. Go to Blood Cloud Peak and bring back the blood lotuses. Also, take care of Bloodthirsty Forefather, Chou Sun ordered calmly. At this moment, he did not have any of his previous irritable appearance, and was terrifyingly cold. Blood Cloud Peak, that place is so far. Si Yue looked at Cho Sun with resentment, and said coquettishly, disciple made this trip on behalf of forefather. If forefather does not have any instructions, disciple will not comply. Besides the 3 blood lotuses, everything in Blood Cloud Peak is yours. Cho Sun waved his hand generously. Thank you, elder. Si Yue immediately showed a fawning and obedient smile. Bloodthirsty forefather had operated in Thunder Nation for a long time, and should have accumulated many good things. She would not suffer a loss on this trip. I will send a demon corpse to go with you. Cho Sun said, and then made a hand seal. A tall man appeared silently behind him. His curly black hair draped over his back, and his handsome face was as pale as a corpse. His empty eyes emitted a terrifying aura. However, the strangest thing was his ears. They were furry, and looked exactly like a wolf's ears. As expected, Elder dotes on Yue the most. Si Yue looked at the demon corpse, and was extremely satisfied with this mission. It was as if she was taking good things for free. Make sure to clean up the scene, and do not leave any evidence. Cho Sun took out a token carved from white bones, and threw it to Si Yue. Si Yue quickly caught the token to control the demon corpse, and said respectfully, rest assured, elder. Disciple will definitely complete the mission. Alright, go. Cho Sun waved his hand indifferently. Si Yue left with the demon corpse. Chapter 237. Inside Blood Cloud Peak. After Bloodthirsty Ancestor received Elder Cho Sen's promise, he spread this news throughout the sect. The Bloodthirsty sect disciples were in an uproar. They never knew that Bloodthirsty Ancestor was related to the Corpse sect. That was one of the 5 great sects of the Demon sect, famous for their control of corpses. Compared to the Een Corpse sect, the Thunder Country's spiritualist alliance was nothing. After this news came out, the entire Bloodthirsty sect felt honored. The previously shaken morale quickly stabilized. Everyone rubbed their fists, wanting to perform well in front of the Corpse sect elders. Su Junqing was also very excited when he heard this news. These large sects usually only operated in Great Spirit City. It was almost impossible to see them in a small place like Thunder Country. He did not think that Bloodthirsty sect would be able to get in touch with them. If he could use Bloodthirsty sect as a springboard to enter the Corpse sect, he would soar. At that time, it would not be difficult to become a spirit master or even a spirit king, let alone a spirit master. When he was successful, the Dongfang family, Spirit Alliance, and Bloodthirsty Ancestor would all kneel at his feet and beg for mercy. When Su Junqing thought of Bloodthirsty Ancestor, it was like a bucket of cold water was poured over his heart. It was already good that Bloodthirsty Ancestor would spare his life. It was impossible for him to recommend him into the Corpse sect. No, he had to think of a way to seize this opportunity. He heard that the helper sent by the Corpse sect was a woman. If he planned it well, he might have some hope. 2 days later, Blood Cloud Peak was very lively. The hall was decorated and filled with good food and wine. The blood slaves, who usually wore revealing red muslin, all changed into simple and conservative blue cotton dresses to act as maids. The other Bloodthirsty sect disciples were ordered to rest in their own rooms to avoid offending the nobles of the Corpse sect. Bloodthirsty Ancestor brought Skinny Monkey and other trusted subordinates to the hall with Si Yue. Lady Emissary, the banquet is ready. We are just waiting for you to take a seat. Our place is simple. If there is anything lacking, please forgive us, Emissary, Bloodthirsty Ancestor said respectfully. Forefather Bloodthirsty, you're too polite. You've worked hard for Elder Chiu in the Thunder Nation. Elder Chiu misses you a lot. Si Yue smiled appropriately. Today, she was wearing a cherry red dress and a light red veil. She didn't want to give even a piece of her skin to a country bumpkin like Bloodthirsty Forefather. The demon corpse standing behind her was wearing a large black cloak that covered its head, completely covering its appearance and figure. It is my honor to be able to work for Elder Cho Sr. Please put in a few good words for me in front of Elder Cho Sr. While talking, Forefather Bloodthirsty presented the gift he had prepared carefully. It was a bottle of extremely pure blood essence pellets. This blood essence pill was a good thing. It could nourish one's essence chi and speed up one's cultivation speed. It also had an additional effect on demonic cultivation techniques. Even Si Yue rarely saw such a good thing. You're too kind, Patriarch. Si Yue accepted it without hesitation. Seeing Si Yue accept his gift, Bloodthirsty Forefather smiled even more happily. While Si Yue and the others were heading to the hall, a white shadow suddenly dashed out of the passage next to them. It was Su Junqing. How dare you? Bloodthirsty Forefather frowned and scolded him. He had specifically asked his disciples to watch Su Junqing. How could he let him run away? Forefather, please don't be angry. Disciple suddenly smelled a delicate fragrance in the passage. My mind was confused, so I went the wrong way. Please forgive me, Forefather. Su Junqing hurried to bow to Bloodthirsty Forefather. His handsome face showed fear. Delicate fragrance, my ass. Do you think I'm a 3-year-old? Bloodthirsty Forefather sneered and ordered, guards, take him away. He had kept Su Junqing alive to stabilize the morale of his troops. Now that the Een Corp sex people were here, Su Junqing was useless. He could be used as a blood fertilizer. Brother Su, do you want to walk by yourself, or do you want us to hold you down? The thin monkey-like man smiled and walked forward. Forefather, I was attracted by the fragrance. Su Junqing acted as if he didn't know that a disaster was about to befall him. He explained to Bloodthirsty Forefather with a serious face. I've never smelled such a mesmerizing fragrance in my life. That woman must be a goddess. If I can see her, I'm willing to die. What nonsense are you talking about? Take him away. Bloodthirsty Forefather didn't want to listen to Su Junqing's nonsense. The thin monkey-like man and the others dashed towards Su Junqing like wolves and tigers. They wanted to drag him away. At this moment, Si Yue, who had been silent all this time, suddenly opened her mouth. Stop. The thin monkey-like man's heart sank. He hurried to look at Bloodthirsty Forefather. Great Messenger, my disciple had an accident while cultivating. His mind is muddled. If he offended you, please forgive him, Bloodthirsty Forefather hurried to explain to Si Yue. Really? I think your disciple isn't bad. Si Yue's ambiguous eyes fell on Su Junqing. Su Junqing was wearing a white robe with wide sleeves. He was tall and elegant, and his eyes were full of love. He smiled before he said anything, which was unforgettable. Especially when he was set off by the ugly disciples of Bloodthirsty sect, he was like the rising sun. He was the type that Si Yue liked the most. If Great Messenger is interested, I will definitely arrange a better one for you. Bloodthirsty Forefather felt that something was wrong when he saw Si Yue's eyes, but he still wanted to save him. This Su Junqing was too cunning. He wasn't on the same side as him. If he really made a connection with Si Yue, it wouldn't be good for him. No need. It's him. Si Yue looked at Bloodthirsty Forefather and said with a faint smile, Forefather, are you reluctant? Huh, what are you talking about? Forget about a disciple. If Great Messenger wants my Bloodthirsty sect, I will give it to you with both hands. Bloodthirsty Forefather pretended to laugh heartily. He still needed to rely on Si Yue to deal with the people of the Spiritualist Alliance. How could he fall out with Su Junqing? Skinny Monkey watched anxiously from the side and wanted to stab Su Junqing. However, he also knew that it was impossible to play tricks in front of the Een Corp sect messenger, so he immediately changed his attitude. He helped Su Junqing pat the non-existent dirt off his body and said with a flattering smile, "Brother Su, please don't take it to heart if I offended you just now. Big brother Skinny Monkey is too polite." Su Junqing gently smiled at Skinny Monkey and then shyly stood next to Si Yuyue. He said meekly and gratefully, "Thank you, great messenger, for helping me out. What's the use of just saying thanks? Don't you have anything to say?" Si Yuyue narrowed her eyes. Her slender, white, jade-like fingers lightly pinched Su Junqing's chin. Her pinky finger even touched his Adam's apple ambiguously. Her teasing method was very experienced. Chapter 238. Su Junqing just smiled shyly, looking like a virgin who didn't understand love. He knew very well that Si Yuyue, a demon who had killed countless men, liked men who were young on the top and brave on the bottom. Although he had successfully attracted Si Yuyue's attention, he still had to perform tonight to get close to her. Si Yuyue's heart itched from Su Junqing's teasing. She was no longer in the mood to deal with Ancestor Bloodthirsty. After drinking a few glasses of wine at the banquet, she took Su Junqing to rest with the excuse that she was tired from the journey. Ancestor Bloodthirsty watched Si Yuyue and Su Junqing leave, his eyes darkening. He dismissed the blood slave and the other disciples, leaving only Skinny Monkey behind. "You'll have to work hard tonight. Keep an eye on Su Junqing. When they're done, find a chance to kill him." Ancestor Bloodthirsty did not dare to openly oppose Si Yuyue, but if he could kill Su Junqing in private, he believed that Si Yuyue would not turn against him. "This subordinate understands." Skinny Monkey nodded quickly. He had been worried that the ancestor would let Su Junqing go, but now he was relieved. "Be careful. Don't let Si Yuyue find out," Ancestor Bloodthirsty warned. Although Skinny Monkey's hiding skills were very good, there was no guarantee that nothing would go wrong. "This subordinate understands." Skinny Monkey bowed, then left the hall and entered the secret passage. He quietly came to the room prepared for Si Yuyue. He could only hear the sounds of moaning coming from inside. In just a short while, Si Yuyue and Su Junqing had already done it. Su Junqing dared to seduce Si Yuyue because he was confident in his skills in bed. When he was cultivating the bewitching art, he had also cultivated a special technique called the Golden Spear Unfalling Attack. This technique could keep his yang energy from leaking even if he slept with 10 women in one night. This way, he would not have to worry about being sucked dry. Su Junqing used all his skills to deal with Si Yuyue, checking her body from top to bottom. Si Yuyue had only thought of Su Junqing as a pastime. She did not expect his skills to be so good. His nimble lips and hot hands made her confused. Her body was on fire, and she could not stop. Skinny Monkey squatted in the secret room, listening to the silver sound surf. This sound that could make a person's blood boil had no effect on him. All he could think of was how to kill Su Junqing. Skinny Monkey waited quietly. He didn't expect Su Junqing to be so brave. After working for an entire night, he didn't show any signs of fatigue. Furthermore, his tricks were endless, tormenting Si Yuyue to the point where she was hovering between life and death. In the end, she had to beg for her husband's mercy in a hoarse voice. With Si Yuyue's status, Su Junqing was only qualified to carry her shoes. Who would have thought that she would actually call Su Junqing husband? Although it was only in bed, from her sweet and seductive voice, it was obvious that she had been conquered by Su Junqing's skills in bed. This was not good. If Si Yuyue really took Su Junqing under her skirt, she might bring him back to the Corp sect. Sure enough, Su Junqing took advantage of Si Yuyue's confusion and began to coax her with all kinds of sweet words, begging her to take him back to the Corp sect. "Sweetheart, don't worry. I will definitely bring you back." Si Yuyue's eyes were like silk as she ruthlessly pinched Su Junqing's naked chest. She had tormented Su Junqing quite a bit when she was feeling good just now. Su Junqing was also a capable person. In order to achieve his goal, this little injury was nothing at all. He sorrowfully talked about his situation in the bloodthirsty sect, and finally sighed. The bloodthirsty ancestor has already decided to kill me. Even you might not be able to protect me here. Hearing this, Si Yoyue's pretty face instantly became angry. She shouted, "He dares?" Su Junqing was a rare beauty. Before she was tired of playing with him, no one should even think about touching him. He is much more daring than you think. Su Junqing bit Si Yoyue's earlobe, his hands did not stop moving. Si Yoyue had to admit that Su Junqing was right. The bloodthirsty ancestor was indeed very daring. Elder Cho Sen had arranged for him to collect blood to cultivate the blood lotus, but he had used his position to gather a group of disciples to go around killing people for his own benefit. Now, he had even attracted the pursuit of the Spiritualist Alliance. He thought that he had done it secretly, but in reality, his every move was under Elder Cho Sen's eyes. Now that Elder Cho Sen had given the order to eradicate Blood Cloud Peak, everyone had to die. This way, it was not suitable for his heart to stay here, in case he was accidentally injured. Si Yoyue immediately made a decision. With a wave of her hand, the storage bag on the ground flew into her hand. She took out a black token from inside and said to Su Junqing, "Since that's the case, you can go to the Yin Corpse sect first. With this token, you can become an outer sect disciple. I'll come find you after I'm done here." Okay. Su Junqing was ecstatic, but his face was still calm. He casually placed the token on the side of the bed, then flipped over and pressed down on Si Yoyue. Immediately, he felt another wave of absurdity. Hiding in the secret room, Skinny Monkey felt his heart turn cold. Su Junqing had actually hooked up with Si Yoyue, and had even obtained the token to enter the Yin Corpse sect. How could a deranged beast like him be so lucky? Was it because he was handsome and good in bed? This Si Yoyue was also a slut. She had been so easily conquered by Su Junqing. Sooner or later, she would be killed by Su Junqing. Skinny Monkey's heart was filled with hatred, but he knew that he could not kill Su Junqing here. Right now, Su Junqing had reached the sky in one step, but the most dangerous one was Yi Yunji. He had to think of a way to save her. Not far from the secret room was Su Junqing's cave. On the simple and crude stone table, the lit candle had already left a thick layer of wax on the table. Yi Yunji was restlessly pacing back and forth in the cave. From time to time, she would look at the door of the cave. Su Junqing had not returned for the whole night, and she did not know what had happened. Of course, she was not worried about Su Junqing's safety, but worried that Su Junqing would break away from her plan. Since the old ancestor had bestowed her to Su Junqing, she had been inciting Su Junqing to go against the old ancestor. She could see that Su Junqing really wanted to do something. She had been patiently waiting for the day Su Junqing would destroy himself. But last night, Su Junqing suddenly left without a word. She did not know what he was going to do, which made her feel very uneasy. Just when Yi Yunji was burning with anxiety, the door of the cave finally opened. Chapter 239. Su Junqing, you. Yi Yunji thought it was Su Junqing. She didn't expect it to be Skinny Monkey. She looked at the anxious Skinny Monkey and asked in surprise, "Brother Skinny Monkey, why are you here?" "Come with me, I'll explain later." Skinny Monkey rushed up and wanted to take Yi Yunji away. "Where are you taking me?" Yi Yunji avoided him and asked with a frown. Su Junqing got close to Yin Corpse sect's emissary Si Yoyue. He will become Yin Corpse sect's disciple soon. Skinny Monkey hurriedly told her what happened. Yi Yunji's beautiful face became extremely pale. Her body shook and she couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Her lower back hit the table, but she didn't feel anything. Why was it like this? How could it be like this? She endured the humiliation and tried her best to send him to hell, but he easily went to heaven and left her struggling in the swamp. She couldn't accept it, she really couldn't. Yunji, Su Junqing doesn't even care about the bloodthirsty ancestor. I'm afraid he will harm you. You should leave first. Skinny Monkey couldn't think of any way to protect Yi Yunji, so he could only send her away. Where can I go? Yi Yunji smiled sadly. She still had the bloodthirsty ancestor's blood soul flower on her. If she left the Blood Cloud Mountain, the bloodthirsty ancestor would know immediately. If she was caught, she would die even more miserably. I have a way to temporarily seal the blood soul flower. Now, the people from the Spiritualist Alliance are rushing over here. If you go to them, they won't make things difficult for you. This was the escape route that Skinny Monkey had thought of for Yi Yunji. Yi Yunji was a blood slave, not an evil cultivator. She was a pitiful person who was harmed by the bloodthirsty sect. The Spiritualist Alliance was known for their righteousness, so they wouldn't trouble a pitiful girl. What about you? Yi Yunji looked up at Skinny Monkey. What he did was the same as betraying the bloodthirsty ancestor. The Spiritualist Alliance wouldn't believe an evil cultivator like him. If he didn't please both sides, he would die. Don't worry about me. I have a way to escape. You just need to live well. Skinny Monkey grinned. Unlike his usual fawning, flattery, and hypocrisy, this smile came from the bottom of his heart. It made his slightly ugly face look much more pleasing to the eye. What can you do? Yi Yunji murmured. She had stayed in the Blood Cloud Peak for a long time, so she naturally knew what the Skinny Monkey was capable of. He had risked his life to save her. Yi Yunji knew that Shouho liked her, but she didn't expect that he would be willing to die for her. Yi Yunji suddenly felt a little ashamed when she thought of how she had been using Skinny Monkey's feelings to save her own life. She couldn't afford to owe him anything. Moreover, she understood Forefather Bloodthirsty's tricks. Even if Skinny Monkey risked his life to save her, he couldn't send her out safely. Since that was the case, there was no need to drag him down with her. Thinking of this, Yi Yunji's eyes turned red. She said with a sad expression, "Brother Skinny Monkey, you don't have to be so nice to me. In fact, I've been using you." "I'm not a good person." Unexpectedly, Skinny Monkey interrupted her abruptly and said matter-of-factly, "You have no one to rely on here. How can you survive if you don't make use of others? Alright, let's not talk anymore. Right now, Forefather is focused on Cuyue. He doesn't have time for us. Let's go." Skinny Monkey urged Yi Yunji again. Yi Yunji stared blankly at Skinny Monkey then nodded and stood up. Skinny Monkey immediately went to open the stone door, but a sharp pain came from his neck. His eyes rolled back, and he fell to the ground with a thud. Yi Yunji's hand flashed, and she quickly sealed several of Skinny Monkey-like's major acupuncture points. She murmured, "Brother Skinny Monkey, I'm sorry." After that, she quietly sent Skinny Monkey out, then returned to the cave room. She even fetched a basin of water and carefully groomed herself. Then, she combed her long black hair into a snake bun, which was Su Juanqing's favorite hairstyle. Then she quietly sat by the table, waiting for Su Junqing to come back. She wanted to completely end things with him. After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the door opened again. Su Junqing walked in with weak steps, and he immediately saw Yi Yunji waiting for him by the table. The candlelight flickered in the room, illuminating Yi Yunji's soft and beautiful face. "You're back." Yi Yunji softly called out, then walked toward Su Junqing. Su Junqing's expression was a little startled. He couldn't help but recall the time when he and Yi Yunji got married. She always waited for him to come back before she was willing to sleep. His cold heart was a little shaken. In fact, when Su Junqing seduced Yi Yunji, he was a little bit sincere. Otherwise, he wouldn't have married her in the Zhuangzi and made her pregnant. When he annihilated the Yi family, he also hesitated, but when he thought of the bloodthirsty ancestors' methods, he had to do it. In the end, it was the bloodthirsty ancestors' fault. But now, it was no longer important. He had already entered the Yin Corps sect with Yi Yunji's support. In the future, when he succeeded in his cultivation, he would definitely use the bloodthirsty ancestor's head to beg for Yi Yunji's forgiveness. Su Junqing pushed all the blame to the bloodthirsty ancestor, and he imagined that he could make up with Yi Yunji. He even opened his arms, ready to embrace Yi Yunji. At this time, Yi Yunji's eyes flashed with a sharp light, and the spirit power that she had been accumulating for a long time suddenly erupted. Her right hand glowed with a gray spirit light that reached her fingers. Her short red nails suddenly expanded, and like 5 sharp knives, they stabbed into Su Junqing's chest. Yi Yunji came from a family of assassins, after all. She was determined to hit this close to her. The red nails, shining with a faint gray light, stabbed into Su Junqing's chest. Yi Yunji was happy, but she didn't think that Su Junqing's body would suddenly emit a ball of golden light that bounced off her fingers. Yi Yunji's body kept retreating, and she only stopped when she hit the table. She looked at Su Junqing in disbelief. Vajra body protection talisman? Did he prepare for it? Su Junqing looked down at the 5 holes in his chest, and his expression suddenly became very ferocious. He said fiercely, "Yunji, you're really cruel." If he didn't have the Vajra body protection talisman that Si Yuyue had just given him, he was afraid that Yi Yunji would have succeeded. "If you want to kill me or cut me, do as you please," Yi Yunji said with a wooden expression. Her spirit power had been used up, and she had no more strength to fight back. "How could I bear to kill you?" Su Junqing walked over with a sinister smile. He forcefully lifted Yi Yunji's chin, as if he wanted to see the expression on her face. Yi Yunji closed her eyes. She didn't want to see Su Junqing's savage expression. She thought sorrowfully, this is all fate. She was destined to be deceived and betrayed by Su Junqing. No matter what, she couldn't win against him. Su Junqing opened his mouth and bit Yi Yunji's slender, white neck. He swore, "Don't worry. Even if I go to hell, I will take you with me." Chapter 240. Yi Yunji was in danger, but Yi Yu did not know about the changes in Bloodthirsty sect. He was discussing the route to Blood Cloud Peak with Luo Tian and Junichen. There are no signs of human habitation within 100 miles of Blood Cloud Peak, and water is scarce. We can go to Blood Cloak Miao's former encampment. It's only 10 miles away from Blood Cloud Peak, and it's very convenient to monitor. Luo Tian gestured on the map he drew. Will Bloodthirsty sect send people to monitor that place? Yi Yu was slightly worried. That place is already in ruins, they won't waste manpower to monitor it. Junichen said coldly. It would be better if there was someone, he could use it to sacrifice his natal gu. Alright, let's go take a look. Yi Jioga was not familiar with Blood Cloud Peak, and could only trust Junichen and Luo Tian. Missy, should we inform the Spiritualist Alliance? Yi Yu felt it was more prudent. No need. Yi Jioga saw Yi Yu's disapproving expression, and explained, there is a spy in the Spiritualist Alliance, telling them is the same as telling Bloodthirsty Ancestor. There is a spy in the Spiritualist Alliance, who is it? Yi Yu was surprised. I don't know. Yi Jioga shook his head, and helplessly pointed at Zishang, who was sitting on a chair eating a cherry pill, and said, this guy refuses to say. Yi Yu secretly glanced at Zishang. He could not figure out the background of this expert guard who suddenly appeared. She was so beautiful, but her presence was extremely low. Basically, if he did not speak, people would unconsciously ignore his existence. Just this point alone made Yi Yu, who walked in the shadows, feel afraid. Anyway, it's not the few with goo worms. Zishang mercifully rewarded them. What's the difference between saying and not saying? Yi Jiuge rolled his eyes. Gong Shifan had 15 subordinates, excluding the 3 with goo worms. There were 12 people left. How could they guess with such a large range? Who cares who the spy is, as long as we don't have one here? Zhu Nichen said straightforwardly. Yes, since we know they have a spy, we might be able to make use of it. Luo Tian also quickly thought of various countermeasures. We'll talk about it later. Let's set off first, and try to reach your encampment in 3 days. Yi Jiuge immediately made the decision. They had long made their preparations. That afternoon they traveled swiftly all the way. Finally 3 days later they successfully arrived at the blood-clothed Miao people's encampment. The valley in front of him was a mess. The trees were withered, and there were no traces of people living here. Zhu Nichen and Luo Tian stood high up on the hillside, staring blankly at everything in front of them. Their minds flashed back to that bloody night. The people of bloodthirsty sect rushed in crazily, killing everyone they saw, regardless of whether they were men or women, old or young. In the end, it was the old patriarch who sacrificed himself to carve out a path of blood for them. Are they all right? Yi Jiuge softly asked Yi Yu. What if Zhu Nichen and Luo Tian were heartbroken and went to Blood Cloud Peak to fight Ancestor Bloodthirsty? They'll be fine. Yi Yu shook his head. He and Zhu Nichen were in a similar situation. They were also exterminated by the bloodthirsty sect, and they also wanted to take revenge. This was also the reason why Zhu Nichen was willing to accept Yi Yu even though he hated martial artists. You don't have to worry too much. Since we're already here, we'll definitely save your sister. Yi Jiuge patted Yi Yu's shoulder comfortingly. Yi Yu nodded heavily. He had already endured for so long, he was not in a hurry. At this moment, the atmosphere was filled with sadness and determination. However, there was a voice that spoiled the mood. This sovereign is hungry. Didn't you just eat half a bottle of cherry pills? Why are you so hungry so quickly? Are you a pig? Yi Jiuge glared at Zishang unhappily. Before leaving Shangjing, she was forced by Zishang to refine a few cauldrons of cherry pills. The refined pills were directly stored in a pot. Zishang would chew noisily when he had nothing to do, and he still had the cheek to say he was hungry. A pig will not help you fight, Zishang said very seriously. Yes, yes, yes. You're a pig that knows how to fight. Yi Jiuge was no longer in the mood to comfort Zhu Nichen and the others after being disturbed by Zishang. He called out, "It's getting late. Let's find a place to rest. This way." Zhu Nichen quickly calmed down and led Yi Jiuge and the others into a remote cave. After a few turns, they finally arrived at a spacious cave room. The stone walls of the cave room were filled with densely packed holes, and there was a small dry pond beside it. It looked rather desolate. This is our clan's sacred ground. Zhu Nichen looked sadly at the holes in the stone wall. It used to be filled with goo seeds. After bloodthirsty sect broke through, the clan leader killed all the goo seeds. The pond beside it was used to baptize newborns and plant goo seeds. This place was very hidden. Bloodthirsty sect's people did not discover it. It was absolutely safe. I see. After Yi Jiuge accompanied Zhu Nichen for a while, she took out the prepared rations and told everyone to rest. As they ate, they discussed the next step of the plan. I want to go to Bloodthirsty sect to check it out tonight. It would be best if I can find out where the formation eye of their protective formation is, Yi Jiuge said seriously. Bloodthirsty sect's protective formation was very powerful. Even with the Yin pill she refined, it would be difficult to pass through. The best way was to destroy the formation eye and completely cripple it. If we can find my sister, we can get a lot of information. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Yi Yu agreed with this plan. Alright, we'll split up. Yi Zi and I will go find the formation I, you guys go find Sister Yi Yu. Yi Jioga quickly decided on the plan. Yi Yu, Luo Tian, and Jun Yichen all agreed. Zi Shang ate the cherry pill without a care. It was midnight, and everything was quiet except for the sounds of insects and frogs. Yi Jioga and the others left the Blood Cloak Miao's sacred ground and silently made their way to Blood Cloud Peak. Blood Cloud Peak was covered in a faint red mist in the night. Although the protective formation was not activated, defensive formations were everywhere. Especially after Bloodthirsty Sect's ancestor killed the Blood Cloak Miao's people, he collected many poisonous snakes and insects to strengthen his defense. Many dangers were hidden under the seemingly ordinary grass. However, with Jun Yichen and Luo Tian here, they were not a threat. Yi Jioga and the others carefully avoided the patrolling disciples and finally reached the foot of Blood Cloud Peak. Bloodthirsty Sect's ancestor penetrated the entire Blood Cloud Peak and set up countless caves as the base of Bloodthirsty Sect. The leftmost area was where the disciples rested and cultivated. In the middle was the 100-flower palace where Bloodthirsty Sect's ancestor had fun. The rightmost area was where Bloodthirsty Sect's ancestor rested, which was also Bloodthirsty Sect's forbidden area. According to the information from Bloodthirsty Sect's ancestor's blood, Jun Yichen told Yi Jioga with certainty, the formation I of the protective formation is in the forbidden area on the right. Chapter 241. Alright, Yi Zi and I will go to the right. You guys go to the middle. Once we succeed, retreat. Call for help if we encounter danger, Yi Jioga said to Yi Yu. Alright. Yi Yu nodded. His body flickered with a gray light, and he hid in the shadows. Jun Yichen's body also emitted a black shadow made of tiny goo worms. After it covered his body, it spread to Luo Tian. The three of them disappeared. Give me an invisibility talisman. Yi Jioga turned to Zi Shang. Zi Shang directly drew an invisibility talisman on Yi Jioga. This talisman could not deal with experts like Bloodthirsty Ancestor, but it was enough to fool ordinary disciples. After Yi Jioga and Zi Shang concealed themselves, they walked along the dark tunnel to the right. Bloodthirsty Sect probably did not expect someone to be so daring as to sneak into their lair, so they were very relaxed. Yi Jioga and Zi Shang only met two patrol teams along the way. None of them noticed Yi Jioga and Zi Shang, who had passed by them in a stealthy manner, as they yawned. The two arrived at the forbidden area without a hitch. Trespassers will die. For bloody words were painted on the stone walls, exuding a terrifying murderous intent. Zi Shang did not even look at it. He pulled Yi Jioga into the forbidden area. What they saw were countless closed stone doors. They went up and down like a maze. Where are we going? Yi Jioga felt dizzy with just one glance. If they searched room by room, they would not be able to find them even at dawn. Bloodthirsty Sect's guard was lax, but they would find them sooner or later. These rooms are arranged according to the formation to confuse people. The formation I is not a treasure. I can't see it. Zi Shang shook his head. The formation I was a dead object, no different from a stone. No matter how powerful his eye technique was, he could not distinguish it. Treasure? Yi Jioga's eyes lit up. He remembered Jun Yichen saying that Bloodthirsty Ancestor treasured the blood lotus very much. He was growing it near the formation I. As long as we find the blood lotus, we can find the formation I. Yi Jioga thought of this and hurriedly called out to his treasure-seeking scorpion. Master, what are your orders? Treasure-seeking scorpion crawled out of the cloth bag with difficulty. It had been eating and drinking well with Yi Jioga. It did not have to do any work to protect its wife. It had become a sausage. Can you help me find the blood lotus? Yi Jiuge looked worriedly at the scorpion's fat waist. He was worried that it could not run. Blood Lotus is a piece. The treasure-seeking scorpion waved its pincers and pointed to the east without hesitation. It's behind that cave. Are you sure? Yi Jiuge raised his eyebrows. Even Zishang couldn't see through it, but this treasure-seeking scorpion found it in an instant. Of course, I have lived here with Lu Yunfei for many years. I know these blood lotuses like the back of my hand. Right now, there are a total of 3. In 5 days, they will bloom. The treasure-seeking scorpion proudly said as it stuck out its fat chest. Although Lu Yunfei seemed to respect forefather Bloodthirsty, she had been eyeing those blood lotuses. Every time Bloodthirsty ancestor cultivated, she would send treasure-seeking scorpion to check. The blood lotus was like a vegetable garden for treasure-seeking scorpion. Then, do you know where the array eye is? Yi Jiuge did not forget that they were here to destroy the array eye. Array eye? What is that? Is it edible? Treasure-seeking scorpion was confused. Let's go. Take us to the blood lotus. Yi Jiuge knew that he could not place too much hope on treasure-seeking scorpion. Let's go. Treasure-seeking scorpion's fat body landed on the ground. It was crawling quite fast. Yi Jiuge and Purple Shang followed it to the cave where the blood lotus was being cultivated. They pushed the stone door, but it did not budge. The mechanism is here. Purple Shang pointed at a dark corner of the cave and said, "Be careful not to touch that shrieking grass." Yi Jiuge looked carefully and saw a bunch of grayish-green grass growing in the corner. It was one with the stone wall. If he did not look carefully, he would not have noticed it. This was Bloodthirsty Ancestor's little trap. The shrieking grass was connected. If one screamed, everyone screamed. If one accidentally pressed the button, it would immediately attract everyone's attention. Just as Purple Shang was about to show Yi Jiuge how he could freeze the shrieking grass, Yi Jiuge decisively took out a bag of poison powder from her pocket and ferociously scattered it at the shrieking grass. The shrieking grass did not even let out a fart before it turned into a pile of powder. Yi Jiuge quickly pressed the button. The moment the door of the cave opened, she dashed in. Purple Shang silently retracted his finger and pretended that nothing had happened. He also followed her in. After the two entered, the door of the cave closed immediately. It was pitch black in front of them. They could not even see their own fingers. Zishang flicked a purple ball of light upward, illuminating the surroundings. They saw 3 pitch-black tunnels in front of them, like the open mouths of monsters. Which one is the real one? Yi Jiuge asked treasure-seeking scorpion. The one in the middle is real. However, if you enter like this, you will have to pass through 49 traps before you can reach the pool of the blood lotus, treasure-seeking scorpion said. This was also the reason why Lu Yunfei did not dare to enter. The 49 traps were ingeniously designed. Even if they could pass through, they would definitely alarm the guards. The one in the middle leads to the blood lotus. What about the left and right? Yi Jiuge asked. Junichen said that the blood lotus was near the eye of the formation. That meant that the one in the middle could be eliminated, leaving only the 2 on the left and right. I don't know. I have never seen it before. Treasure-seeking scorpion always went straight to its destination. Go and take a look, Yi Jiuge ordered. Yes. Treasure-seeking scorpion's body flashed with yellow light and disappeared into the ground. After 5 minutes, it emerged from the ground with its face covered in dirt. It reported gloomily, at the end of the left are the 13 stone pillars, and at the end of the right is the 1,000 poison cave. It was surrounded by those poisonous creatures when it emerged from the right. It almost couldn't escape. You have worked hard. Come back. Yi Jiuge recalled treasure-seeking scorpion and asked Zishang, which one? The left. Zishang said without hesitation. Then you go first. Yi Jiuge stood behind Zishang. In such a dangerous place, this evildoer had to go first. Little guy, come in. Zishang looked at Yi Jiuge with disdain. Then, a light purple smoke came out of his body. Yi Jiuge entered the purple smoke and realized that it was not as pungent as he had imagined. Instead, there was a faint fragrance. It was Zishang's smell. If not for the situation in front of him, this scene would be quite romantic. What nonsense are you thinking? Zishang reprimanded, as if Yi Jiuge wanted to take advantage of him. Chapter 242. You're the one thinking nonsense. Hurry up and get in. Yi Jiuge slapped Zishang's butt. Since Zishang wanted her to take advantage of him, she obviously couldn't let him down. Zishang grabbed Yi Jiuge's right claw and narrowed his beautiful black eyes. Little guy, you want to rebel? Yi Jiuge laughed and raised his right claw, looking like he was going to perform a monkey stealing a peach. You win. Zishang let go of Yi Jiuge's claw and turned to enter the tunnel. Yi Jiuge followed with satisfaction. This tunnel was very narrow, only allowing one person to pass through at a time. The ground was all made of gray stone. Zishang walked very casually, not caring about the tunnel at all. In comparison, Yi Jiuge walked very cautiously. But after a few steps, she heard a clicking sound under her feet. Countless fine lights shot out from both sides of the tunnel, shooting towards them like arrows. If it was anyone else, they would have been shot full of holes by these lights. But Zishang's purple mist was not to be underestimated. It firmly blocked the lights outside. Go! Zishang continued forward, followed by another sound. Balls of thick pink mist spread in the tunnel. The smell of blood was pungent, but it was already blocked by the purple mist. It was a short tunnel, but it was filled with sword-light and poisonous creatures. If it wasn't for Zishang, Yi Jiuge would have a hard time dealing with it alone. After much difficulty, he finally reached the end and saw 13 blood-red pillars erected in an orderly manner in the spacious cave. These blood-colored pillars were not made of stone or metal. They were carved with poisonous snakes and ferocious beasts. Light flowed between them. They were the formation eyes of the Mountain Protection Formation. As long as they destroyed these pillars, they would be able to destroy the Mountain Protection Formation. Yi Jiuge tried to shoot a ray of spiritual light at one of the pillars. The pillar flashed slightly, and the streak of spiritual light was evenly distributed to the other 12 pillars. This way, they could only increase the power of their attacks and destroy all 13 pillars at the same time. There's not much time, let's attack together. Yi Jiuge said as she pulled out the lightning snake illusionary whip at her waist. She injected spirit energy into it and was about to hit the pillars, but Zishang grabbed her by the back of her collar and threw her back. Damn it! Yi Jiuge was confused and was about to curse when he saw a teleportation array appear in the middle of the pillars. Following that, a black shadow emerged from the teleportation formation and charged at the spot where she had just been standing with lightning speed. The attack it unleashed seemed to tear the air apart. If Zishang hadn't taken her away in time, she would have been torn in half on the spot. Since the black shadow's attack missed, its body rebounded and headed straight for Zishang. Zishang tossed Yi Jiuge to the side and light erupted from his right hand, condensing into a spear and stabbing towards the black shadow. With a loud bang, countless rays of light shot out. The black shadow was forced back a few steps by Zishang's spear, but it pounced forward at an even more terrifying speed. In the blink of an eye, it was locked in battle with Zishang. The two of them were locked in battle. Yi Jiuge couldn't even see what the black shadow looked like. Zishang abruptly pulled himself away from the intense battle and shot a ball of purplish-black light at Yi Jiuge, enveloping her within. He hurriedly ordered, "Run." Yi Jiuge knew that he would be of no help even if he stayed, so he left the forbidden area without the slightest hesitation and ran towards the Flower Palace. They had just entered, so Junie Chen and the others might not have found Yi Yunji yet, so she had to go and receive them. Along the way, she heard bloodthirsty sects commotion, shouting, "Enemy attack! Enemy attack!" However, they were running towards the forbidden area. There was no one in the Flower Palace's path, so Yi Jioga successfully rushed in. The moment she entered, she saw Junie Chen's gu attacking her. Yi Jioga hurriedly shouted, "It's me. Why are you here? Where's Yi Zi?" Half of Junie Chen's head popped out from the cave wall. The area below his neck was still hidden in the black shadow. "There's an ambush at the formation's core. Yi Zi told us to leave first. Where are the others?" Yi Jioga said anxiously. "Inside." Junie Chen didn't dare to say anything else and hurriedly rushed into the Flower Palace with Yi Jioga. "Did you find Sister Yi Yu?" Yi Jioga asked as she rushed. "Not yet. They caught a disciple and are interrogating her, but the situation doesn't look good," Junie Chen said in a low voice. Although he was in charge of guarding the door, he could still vaguely know the situation inside through his gu observation. The Flower Palace was in a mess. More than 10 beautiful blood slaves were unconscious on the ground. Yi Yu's eyes were bloodshot. He was strangling a skinny man and shouted angrily, "This is impossible, I don't believe it." Luo Tianzheng frowned and advised, "Calm down." Although the scene in front of her was somewhat out of Yi Jioga's expectations, now was not the time to get to the bottom of things. She quickly walked forward and knocked the skinny man unconscious with a palm strike. Then, she pushed Yi Yu and said, "The situation has changed, let's go." Although Yi Yu was on the verge of losing control of his emotions, when he heard Yi Jioga's words, he still turned around and left with her without hesitation. Junie Chen sent out 10 gu to scout ahead. The group followed behind him and prepared to avoid the bloodthirsty sect disciples. Soon, they rushed out of the chaotic blood cloud peak. "Not good, they're going to activate the mountain protection formation. Let's go!" Junie Chen suddenly shouted. Yi Jioga turned around and saw red smoke rising from the middle of Blood Cloud Peak. It was surging towards them like a tide. "Eat a pill." Yi Jioga immediately swallowed a yin pill. Junie Chen and the rest ate as they ran forward at their fastest speed. Although they were fast, the mountain protection formation was activated even faster. Those blood mosquitoes were like fierce tigers released from their cages, gathering into a blood cloud and pouncing towards them. After Yi Jioga consumed the yin pill, a layer of gray grease appeared on her body. Although those blood mosquitoes immediately died upon contact with the grease, they still continued to charge towards them and quickly stuck a thick layer on their bodies. The group was instantly covered in a layer of red armor, blocking the blood mosquitoes behind them. "They're over there." The patrolling bloodthirsty sect disciples finally discovered Yi Jioga and the rest. They commanded the venomous snakes and venomous insects to surround them while launching countless sharp attacks at them. Multicolored shadows formed a huge net that enveloped Yi Jioga and the rest from above. At the same time, a large patch of blood-colored vines rapidly grew in their path, obstructing their advance. "Charge!" Yi Jioga shouted and pulled out her lightning snake illusion whip, fiercely swinging it forward. The purple light of the lightning snake illusion whip exploded, transforming into a malevolent python that roared and charged forward. The blood-colored vines were instantly torn apart, sending fragments flying all over the sky. Yi Jioga made another hand seal, and the python turned and charged upwards. Although it could not break through the huge net formed by the shadows, it still bought Yi Jioga and the rest some time. Junie Chen and the rest gritted their teeth and charged forward, finally rushing out of the huge net before it completely enveloped them. The bloodthirsty sect disciples wanted to continue chasing, but they were called back by bloodthirsty sect's ancestor. "Don't chase a cornered enemy, ignore those small shrimps." Yi Jioga felt that it was a pity. She had originally wanted to take the opportunity to capture a few captives to interrogate. She cautiously led Juni-chen and the rest in a few circles. After confirming that no one was following them, they returned to the bloodthirsty sect's sacred ground. Chapter 243. What happened at the Eye of the Formation? What happened to Sister Yiyu? Juni-chen and Yi Jioga asked at the same time and stopped talking. After a while, Yiyu said in a hoarse voice, "My sister was taken by Su Junqing to Yin Corp's sect." Yin Corp's sect? Yi Jioga was shocked and quickly asked, "How did the bloodthirsty ancestor get involved with Yin Corp's sect?" "I don't know." Yiyu pulled his hair in pain and his tired body slid down the wall. He had prepared for so long but failed at the last moment. If only he had come to Blood Cloud Peak earlier. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Seeing him like this, Yi Jioga didn't have the heart to ask any more and looked at Luo Tian. Luo Tian had been with Yiyu for a long time and should know the relationship. It is said that the bloodthirsty ancestor's blood lotus was raised by Yin Corp's sect. The female emissary of Yin Corp's sect, Si Yue, brought a demon corpse to help Yin Corp's sect fight against the Spiritualist Alliance. Su Junqing sold his body to the female emissary and got the token to enter Yin Corp's sect and left with Sister Yiyu. However, we need to capture a few more disciples of Yin Corp's sect to confirm whether this information is true or not. Luo Tian said carefully. "That information is true." Yiyu said painfully. "How can you be sure?" Luo Tian frowned and felt that Yiyu was too pessimistic. "I found this wood carving from Skinny Monkey. It was made by my sister. That Skinny Monkey should be someone she trusted a lot." Yiyu took out a lifelike monkey wood carving from his belt. "How do you know that your sister made this wood carving?" Yi Jioga picked it up and looked at it carefully. He didn't find anything special. "This was carved with our Yi family's special technique. Hold it and press on your hand." Yiyu signaled Yi Jioga to press on the bottom of the monkey wood carving. Yi Jioga tried and found that the smooth bottom made a Yi character on her hand. "Then what do you plan to do now?" Yi Jioga returned the monkey wood carving to Yiyu. Yiyu was confused. When Su Junqing gave his sister to the bloodthirsty ancestor, he always believed that he could save her. But now, Su Junqing brought his sister to Yin Corp's sect. That is an evil sect that is famous for controlling corpses. I'm afraid my sister's life is in danger this time. Even if his sister was still alive, he had no way to save her. Although everyone knew that the Yin Corp sect was built on top of the Devil Sect Mountain, none of the Righteous Path people dared to go there. That was because it was the Devil Sect's territory, a forbidden area for spiritualists. Let's talk about it later. We should think about how to deal with Bloodthirsty Forefather and the Yin Corp sect's emissary first. Luo Tian said calmly, "If we can capture that messenger, we might be able to exchange for your sister." "You're right." Skinny Monkey said that the female emissary's cultivation is only at Pseudo-Spirit Master. Yiyu's dark eyes immediately lit up. This method was much more reliable than sneaking into the Yin Corp sect. The envoys of the Yin Corp sect probably won't be so easy to capture. Yi Jioga thought of the black shadow that had suddenly appeared in the eye of the array. That should be the demon corpse that Si Yue had brought. This demon corpse's speed was shockingly fast. Even Zishang couldn't easily take it down, let alone them. "We have to catch him even if it's not easy," Juni-chen said. The helpers of the bloodthirsty forefather were his enemies. He had to kill them all. Yi Jioga was just about to tell them about how scary the demon corpse was when a small sound came from outside the cave. "Who is it?" Juni-chen immediately released his goo. "It's Yi Zi." Yi Jioga already smelled the fragrance on Zishang's body. Just as she finished speaking, Zishang appeared beside her in one piece. His clothes were clean and his hair was neat. He didn't look like he had been beaten to a pulp. Yi Jiuge let out a sigh of relief and asked, "Was that black shadow a demon corpse?" "Yes." Zi Shang nodded with a dark face. As a member of the devil race, he felt very uncomfortable seeing half of his fellow sect members being refined into puppets. "Then do you have a way to deal with it?" Yi Jiuge asked again. "That demon corpse is equivalent to a middle spirit master. It would take a lot of effort to kill it. It's not worth it. Zi Shang naturally could kill it. But after killing it, his devil chi would be used up. If something happened to Yi Jiuge, it would be hard for him to take care of her. Zi Shang wouldn't do something that would make him lose money. To him, the blood lotus and the treasure map were all fake. Only Yi Jiuge's life was real." Yi Jiuge thought about it and asked Zi Shang, "Can we not kill it and just trap it?" "Yes." Zi Shang nodded. Although the demon corpse was fierce, it didn't have intelligence. It was possible to trap it. "Miss, did you think of a way?" Yi Yu asked with anticipation. "I do have a way, but it's not enough with just us. We need the help of the Spiritualist Alliance." Yi Jiuge nodded. This matter was related to Yin Corp's sect. No matter what, he had to tell Gong Xiaofan. But there is a spy in the Spiritualist Alliance. Telling them is the same as telling the bloodthirsty forefather. Luo Tian frowned. "Who is the spy?" Yi Yu said and peeked at Zi Shang. "It's Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanqi." Zi Shang said lightly. "It's them?" Yi Yu cried out. He could understand that Wang Haoqiang was a spy. However, Lin Yanqi, the little beauty of the heavenly fragrance sect, was also a spy. It was unbelievable. No one would believe it. Do they have magic tools on them and wear human skin like Xiong Yunhu? Yi Yu still felt fear when he thought of Xiong Yunhu. No, they used their real bodies to hide in the Seven Ask Pavilion and the Heavenly Fragrance sect. Zi Shang shook his head. Then how can you be sure that they are spies from the bloodthirsty sect? Yi Yu asked doubtfully. It wasn't that he didn't believe Zi Shang's judgment, but he felt that being an inner disciple of a big sect was much better than being a heretic. Not to mention, Lin Yanqi was a beauty with charm and status. I naturally investigated. That Wang Haoqiang has a hobby of playing with young girls. Lin Yanqi needs the bloodthirsty sect's blood fragrance pill to maintain her beauty. Ever since Zi Shang found out that the Spiritualist Alliance had ill intentions towards Yi Jiuge, he specially investigated and found the two hidden spies. So that's how it is. The two's hobby was indeed strange. Yi Yu finally believed it. Juni-chen, tonight, summon the 3 goo insects from the Spiritualist Alliance and ask them about the situation. Yi Jiuge immediately paid attention to this news. Summoning 3 at once is too conspicuous. Juni-chen shook his head. If they wanted to ask about the situation, summoning 1 was enough. Sure, you see the situation. Yi Jiuge said and called everyone to rest. After a tiring night, if they didn't rest, it would be hard for them to deal with the upcoming battle. Chapter 244. Night fell quickly. There were no stars or moon in the dark night sky, and the forest was dark. Juni-chen sat cross-legged on the ground, his abdomen constantly moving, making buzzing sounds. After a while, a thumb-sized pink figure flew in front of him like lightning. It was Bailey Moyun's Xiao Tao. Chirp chirp chirp. Xiao Tao happily flew around Juni-chen and Yi Jiuge, finally landing on Yi Jiuge's shoulder. Although Yi Jiuge's little mother goo hadn't hatched yet, the smell it emitted was still very attractive to goo. After all, no matter how feminine Xiao Tao was, it was still a male goo in its prime. How have you been recently? Has Bailey Moyun been treating you? Yi Jiuge patted Xiao Tao's head. Chirp chirp chirp. Xiao Tao chirped happily. Bailey Moyun was very good to it, and even found a market square to buy spirit beast pills for it. Stop being so long-winded. Hurry and tell me the situation of the Spiritualist Alliance. Juni Chen stood up and ordered Xiao Tao telepathically. Chirp chirp chirp. Unexpectedly, Xiao Tao chirped fiercely. She scolded them for being immoral and asking about her master's situation, and expressed that she would never betray her master even if she was beaten to death. Yi Jiuge didn't expect Xiao Tao to be so loyal, and immediately felt ashamed. It was too immoral to use innocent Gu to do bad things. She was about to let Xiao Tao go back, but she saw Juni Chen calmly take out a cherry pill and coldly say, "1 pill for 1 piece of information, deal or no?" Xiao Tao smacked her beak, but finally couldn't resist the temptation of the cherry pill, and flew over to take it. Once the pill entered her stomach, her 2 small black eyes immediately widened, and she chirped. "What do you want to know? Hurry up and ask." This moral integrity really moved Yi Jiuge. When will the Spiritualist Alliance arrive, and how do they plan to deal with bloodthirsty sect? Juni Chen methodically asked. Xiao Tao told him all the information she knew. The Spiritualist Alliance would arrive tomorrow afternoon. Their current strategy was to first send people to investigate the situation of Blood Cloud Peak, and then launch an all-out attack. Yi Jiuge took the opportunity to ask about Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi. "Both of you are annoying." Xiao Tao finally found a chance to complain. That Wang Haoqiang was like a clown, jumping around in front of his master all day long, and even stirring up trouble in private. He was so annoying. Lin Yanxi was also not a good thing. She looked very beautiful and gentle, but every time she came to touch her, she wanted to take the opportunity to kill her. Fortunately, it was smart enough to escape. The green praying mantis that followed Gong Honglei was in a miserable state. Its master was a careless person. He didn't know that Lin Yanxi was so evil and almost killed the green praying mantis. Fortunately, it gave the green praying mantis an idea. Every time Lin Yanxi came over, it would spray green liquid. Later, Lin Yanxi found it disgusting and stopped coming. The little eagle that followed Nan Gongli was the best. Its owner drank a lot of ice and ignored everyone. Lin Yanxi couldn't harm it even if she wanted to. "Your master didn't notice anything strange about them?" Yi Jiuge asked. Xiao Tao and Bailey Moyun had signed a contract, so there was some telepathy between them. "Master doesn't understand what I'm saying, but after he knows that I hate that evil woman, he won't let her near me." Xiao Tao was very satisfied with her master. With Bailey Moyun's shrewdness, he should have noticed something. Yi Jiuge had a good impression of that swordsman with peach blossom eyes. As long as someone started to suspect something, she was confident that she could expose Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang's identity as spies. "Miss, we can just tell Gong Xiaofan. Why do we have to make it so complicated?" "Yi, you didn't understand. Before we have conclusive evidence, speaking rashly will only arouse suspicion. Especially since Wang Haoqiang has a grudge with us, the people from the Spiritualist Alliance might think that I'm abusing my position to take revenge." Yi Jiuge shook her head. Speaking rashly without evidence would only alert the enemy. At that time, it would be difficult to use the 2 spies. "Then what should we do now?" Yi Yu asked worriedly. "Of course we're going to meet up with Gong Xiaofan and the others. No matter what, they're the main force in attacking bloodthirsty sect." Yi Jiuge revealed a reserved smile. When Yi Yu saw her smile, he knew that someone was ready to fall into a trap. He couldn't help but rejoice that he was on the same side as Mississippi. "Little Peach, you've worked hard. Go back." Yi Jiuge was in a good mood. She gave Little Peach half a bottle of cherry pills and let her go. The next morning, Yi Jiuge made herself look dirty and rushed to meet up with Gong Xiaofan and the others. "What happened to you guys? Gong Shifan was shocked when he saw Yi Jioge in a sorry state. Needless to say, of course they were beaten back. Yu Lingjun laughed gloatingly. Master Gong, let's talk in private. Yi Jioge didn't even look at Yu Lingjun and spoke directly to Gong Shifan. Okay. Gong Shifan nodded and brought Yi Jioge to a place where there was no wind. He then asked, is there news about bloodthirsty sect? That's right. Yi Jioge told him about Corpse sect. Corpse sect? Gong Shifan was shocked when he heard the name Devil sect. Although their Gong family was very powerful, they were still far inferior to the Devil sect. No wonder bloodthirsty ancestor was so arrogant. He had a powerful backer. Master Gong, don't worry. The Een Corpse sect only secretly sent a pseudo-spirit master female envoy and a monster corpse. They wouldn't dare to officially start a war with our spiritualist alliance. Yi Jioge carefully analyzed the situation. Gong Shifan frowned and asked in a deep voice, then what do you plan to do? My plan is very simple. Let Yi Zi restrain the demon corpse. We'll work together to kill bloodthirsty ancestor and corpse sect female messenger Cuyue. Then, we'll kill the demon corpse. Yi Jioge said concisely. Are you sure Yi Zi can trap the demon corpse? Gong Shifan's heart went cold when he heard that the demon corpse had intermediate soul master cultivation. Of course. Yi Jioge smiled and said, I'm also very afraid of death. Then where is he now? Where are your partners? Gong Shifan asked. My partners are near Blood Cloud Peak. They're with Yi Zi and are ready to support us at any time. Yi Jioge swore confidently to Gong Shifan. Yi Yu and Luo Tian were indeed near Blood Cloud Peak. However, Zi Shang was her trump card. She wouldn't make a move unless it was a critical moment. This is not a small matter. Let me think about it. Gong Shifan's face was heavy. He thought that bloodthirsty ancestor was only a beginner soul master and that his disciples were just a motley crew. That was why he dared to lead the team to kill him. Now that he had pseudo-soul master Cuyue and an intermediate soul master demon corpse, he had to consider whether he could complete this mission. Chapter 245. Wealth comes from danger, there is no such thing as a free lunch. If the bloodthirsty sect was so easy to deal with, then Master Dongfang wouldn't have used the building master pills to exchange, he would have just asked Emperor Xian Wu to send troops. Yi Jioge reasoned. Gong Shifan remained unmoved. Yi Jioge added, the Een Corpse sect sent Cuyue to collect the blood lotus. The blood lotus will bloom in 5 days, if you want to steal it, you need to make a decision. Her words directly stabbed Gong Shifan's weakness. When Gong Shifan thought of the blood lotus, he thought of his nephew Gong Baiyu. He nodded without hesitation and said, okay, I'll do as you say. Master Gong is truly a straightforward person. That's right, there is one more thing I need to tell you, there is a spy in our spirit practitioner alliance. Yi Jioge directly exposed Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi. Lin Yanxi is also a spy, what evidence do you have? Gong Shifan frowned. No, but I'm sure she is a spy. Yi Jioge said. No one will believe me if I tell them. Gong Shifan shook his head. All the male spirit practitioners in the team had a good impression of Lin Yanxi. Even if he was the leader, he couldn't accuse her without any evidence. I'm not asking you to say it, you just need to know it. When the time is right, you can mention it to Bailey Moyun and Nan Gongli. Forget about Gong Honglei. With Gong Honglei's straightforward personality, telling him was the same as exposing himself. Bailey Moyun and Nan Gongli are both core disciples of the Limitless Sword Pavilion and the Purple Cloud sect. If anything happens to them, I'm afraid we won't be able to pay for it. Gong Shifan said seriously. Although Gong Honglei was also a core disciple of the Limitless Sword Pavilion, he was from a branch sect and was far from the main sect. These two people have such big backgrounds, why are they here? Yi Jiuge raised his eyebrows. It shouldn't be a problem for a core disciple of the main sect to get a few building master pills. They came down the mountain to gain experience, that's why they joined us. When I came out, the Alliance Elder told me that no matter what happens, I must ensure their safety. Because Bailey Moyun and Nan Gongli didn't want to be too conspicuous, Gong Shifan hid it from the others. According to what you're saying, we're going to exclude them from this operation? Yi Jiuge frowned. In this team, only the two of them could be of great use. That's not necessary, but don't assign dangerous missions to them. It's good for us, Gong Shifan said meaningfully. When Yi Jiuge said that he was going to leak information about the spy to those two people, he knew that there was something going on. All right. Yi Jiuge sighed helplessly. In the end, he still had to rely on himself. There's not much time left. Let's hurry up. Gong Shifan glanced at the team in the distance. We can blood as, they can with. King, blood, with Yi xt with. Us with, I can. With, ye. Ye with. Master. T, with, by with as, with. Gong Shifan had been gentle along the way, but it was scary when he suddenly lost his temper. Yu Lingjun and the others didn't dare to say anything. They could only glare at Yi Jiuge. Yi Jiuge naturally couldn't be bothered with them. Chirp chirp chirp. A familiar voice sounded. Xiao Tao flapped her wings and landed on Yi Jiuge's shoulder. Darling, are you here to ask me questions? She asked expectantly. This little guy was addicted to earning cherry pills. Yi Jiuge pretended not to hear Xiao Tao and rubbed her head. He looked at Bailey Moyun and said, "You took good care of her. Is that so?" "It's my first time taking care of a pet, so I don't have much experience." "I'm relieved to hear that, Miss Yi." Bailey Moyun smiled. Chirp chirp chirp. Xiao Tao hopped on Yi Jiuge's shoulder, then waved her little wings in the direction of Gong Honglei. "Darling, hurry up and take a look at little Greenie. It was injured by that bad woman last time, and it still hasn't recovered." Yi Jiuge looked in Gong Honglei's direction. He was still busy setting up the camp and didn't seem to have time to come over. "I'll go get little Emmy." Xiao Tao flapped her wings and ran away. Soon, the green praying mantis came over on Xiao Tao's body. Red and green was a sight to behold. Yi Jiuge opened his palm, and Xiao Tao threw the green praying mantis off. Hiss hiss hiss. The green praying mantis groaned weakly. "It hurts, it hurts." Yi Jiuge opened his spiritual eye and saw a ball of black gas the size of a grain of rice on the green praying mantis's abdomen. Although goo worms lived on poison, some poisons were their nemesis. For example, this spirit insect exterminator, which specialized in sucking human flesh. It was usually used by spirit plant masters to exterminate pests. It was very lethal to these newly hatched goo worms. Honglei said that this green praying mantis hasn't had much energy recently. Unfortunately, we didn't find a clinic along the way. We couldn't even find a vet to take a look at it. Bailey Moyun said from the side. It's been poisoned by the spirit insect exterminator. Yi Jiuge said as he took out the lightning fire needle and stabbed it towards the ball of black gas on the green praying mantis's abdomen. The black gas immediately flowed along the lightning fire needle and slowly dispersed. The green praying mantis was in so much pain that it curled up into a ball and shivered. However, it didn't spit out a single word. It clearly knew that Yi Jiuge was trying to save it. Chirp chirp chirp, little Emmy, hold on. Xiao Tao jumped up and down at the side. She was so nervous that the fur on her head fluffed up. How did this green praying mantis get poisoned by the spirit insect exterminator? Bailey Moyun asked with a frown. The green praying mantis followed Gong Honglei every day and never left. It couldn't have been Gong Honglei's doing, right? I'll have to ask you this. Who approached your goo insects recently, and who didn't want them to live? Yi Jiuge looked meaningfully at Lin Yanxi, who was in the distance. Chirp 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 chirp. Xiao Tao immediately jumped onto Bailey Moyun's head. She grabbed his hair and shouted angrily, "It's that bad woman's fault. I've said it so many times, but you still don't understand. You're such a stupid master. Let go, let go." Bailey Moyun's scalp hurt from Xiao Tao's grip. He quickly grabbed it and scolded, "Are you trying to rebel?" Chirp 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 chirp. Xiao Tao shouted with an unyielding look. "Stupid, stupid, stupid. Does eldest miss know what Xiao Tao is saying?" Bailey Moyun looked at Yi Jiuge helplessly. He couldn't deal with the rebellious Xiao Tao in front of Yi Jiuge. Moreover, he couldn't bear to do so. "I guess it's probably trying to tell you who the murderer is. Brother Bailey, if you put your heart into it, you'll naturally understand." Yi Jiuge blinked and lowered his head to continue detoxifying the green praying mantis. Chapter 246. A deep light flashed in Bailey Moyun's eyes. He rubbed Xiao Tao's head. He remembered that Lin Yanxi often came to tease Xiao Tao, but Xiao Tao despised her. Speaking of which, Lin Yanxi seemed to be very interested in goo worms. She had been to Honglei and Li's places. Could it be done? Yi Jiuge removed the needles and finally expelled the insect-exterminating spirit from the green praying mantis's body. Fortunately, it was not deeply poisoned, and it was taken care of in time. SSSSSS. Thank you. The green praying mantis thanked him in a soft voice. Compared to the noisy Xiao Tao, it was much more refined. Good. Yi Jiuge rubbed the green praying mantis's head and gave it a cherry pill. The green praying mantis slowly ate the cherry pill and rubbed against Yi Jiuge's palm gratefully. Chirp chirp chirp. Cherry pill. Xiao Tao screamed at the sight of the cherry pill. It did not go to the extent of snatching the green praying mantis's things. It just circled around Bailey Moyun and screamed, "Delicious, delicious, delicious, stop arguing." Bailey Moyun's head hurt from Xiao Tao's noise. He stretched out his hand to catch it, but Xiao Tao dodged and attacked its master with an even crazier cry, "Eat, eat, eat, young miss, save me." Bailey Moyun covered his ears in pain. Xiao Tao was an angel when she was cute, but a devil when she was hateful. "Alright, it's just a cherry pill. Look at you." Yi Jiuge glared at Xiao Tao and took out a cherry pill. Xiao Tao immediately flew over and hugged it, then hit on Bailey Moyun's head and happily nibbled on it. The world was finally peaceful. Bailey Moyun's hair was messy, and he looked like he had nothing left to live for. "What are you doing?" At this time, Gong Honglei finally finished his work and walked over with Nan Gongli. "Young miss is treating your little green." Bailey Moyun said and gave Yi Jiuge a look. He did not say that the green praying mantis was poisoned because he was worried that Gong Honglei would question Lin Yanxi. Yi Jiuge smiled knowingly and said to Gong Honglei, "Little green is just not used to the climate, it is not a big problem." "That's good." Gong Honglei breathed a sigh of relief. He loved his green praying mantis very much. "Ali, why don't you take this opportunity to let young mistress examine your little eagle goo?" Bailey Moyun changed the topic. After Nan Gongli heard this, he quietly called out Little Eagle. The black-feathered red-eyed little eagle goo slightly raised its chin, trying to maintain the same arrogance as its master. Unfortunately, Nan Gongli was really cold and arrogant, while the little eagle goo was really pretentious. "It's very healthy." Yi Jiuge had already learned about the little hawk situation from Xiao Tao, so he checked it quickly and gave the little hawk a cherry pill. In the face of such delicious food, the arrogant and indifferent pretending eagle immediately lowered his noble head and swallowed the cherry pill. Then, he raised his head and saw another pretending eagle. "I wonder where eldest miss bought this pill from?" Nan Gongli asked. Being able to make him, who did not smile, take the initiative to ask, it could be seen that he was very concerned about his little eagle Gu. "This is a pill I refined myself, it's called cherry pill. It can calm the nerves and gather qi, and nourish the meridians," Yi Jiuge strongly recommended. "Calm the nerves and gather qi?" Gong Honglei looked suspiciously at the small red pill and asked, "Can people eat it?" "Of course." Yi Jiuge nodded. "People were transformed from monkeys, of course they could eat it." "Let me try." Bailey Moyun threw one into his mouth and chewed. After eating it, he immediately expressed his surprise, "This taste is too good." Although the calming effect is slightly worse than specialized pills, it is completely worth buying. Speaking of which, how much are you selling this pill? It would be good to buy some for his junior sisters to try. A bottle of 60 pills, 200 silver taels, internal price. Yi Jiuge said. 60 pills for 200 silver taels, that's too cheap. Bailey Moyun felt it was unbelievable. A calming pill was already more than 500 silver taels. That's why it's internal price. Yi Jiuge also hoped that Bailey Moyun and the rest would treat Xiao Tao better, so he did not think of earning money from these rich people. "Give me 100 bottles." Bailey Moyun said generously. "Me too." Nan Gongli followed. "Me too." Gong Honglei also did not hesitate. As expected of a rich person. Yi Jiuge sighed inwardly. Xiao Tao and the rest had followed the right person. "I don't have that many cherry pills on hand, so I can only give each of you 10 bottles. The 30 bottles were taken from the purple decease ration. Then we'll pay first. You can give us the pills when it's convenient." Bailey Moyun wanted to pay on the spot. However, he did not pay with silver taels, but with spiritual jades. Spiritual jades cost 200 silver taels per piece in Great Divine City, and were specially used for spiritualists' cultivation. Above spiritual jades were spiritual pearls, and above them were spiritual stones. It was said that 10,000 gold taels per piece was priceless. In Thunder Nation, spiritual jades were also sold, but the price was higher, 250 silver taels per piece. As Yi Jiuge had no use for them, she never bought them. However, she knew that spiritual jades were more valuable than silver taels, and were the currency used in Great Divine City. Bailey Moyun and the rest used spiritual jades to pay, and insisted on paying according to Great Divine City's price, indicating that they did not want to take advantage of Yi Jiuge. Yi Jiuge knew that Bailey Moyun and the rest did not care about this small amount of silver taels, so she did not refuse. After completing the transaction, Yi Jiuge, Bailey Moyun, and Nan Gongli's relationship became much closer. Even Gong Honglei followed behind her, running back and forth in a very attentive manner. When Yu Lingjun saw this, her eyes turned red with jealousy, and she said fiercely, "What a vixen! Not only does she have that handsome male bodyguard called Yi Zi, she also wants to attract bees and butterflies. How despicable! Lingjun, don't bother with that country bumpkin. She's tarnishing the reputation of our great sect," Lin Yanxi gently advised. "I'll teach her a lesson sooner or later," Yu Lingjun said fiercely. Lin Yanxi smiled even more gently, and her eyes drifted towards Wang Haofeng. Wang Haofeng happened to meet her eyes, and they both understood the meaning in each other's eyes. Sowing discord, using a borrowed knife to kill. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haofeng thought that their conversation was very secretive, but it was all seen by Gong Shifan. However, he did not say much, and only led the group on their way. The group traveled quickly, and finally reached the vicinity of Blood Cloud Peak at dusk. "Eldest Miss, didn't you say that your people were nearby?" Gong Shifan asked. Not being able to see Ez made him feel very uneasy. "That's right, I'll call them over now." Yi Jioga curled her finger and placed it on her lips, and 3 long and 2 short whistles sounded out. After a moment, 2 black figures suddenly appeared in front of everyone like ghosts, and respectfully bowed towards Yi Jioga. Subordinate greets eldest Mississippi. Chapter 247. These two were Luo Tian and Yi Yu. In order to teach these snobbish disciples a lesson, they purposely used this method to appear. As expected, Xiao Xiaohua's group was blinded. Xiao Xiaohua didn't notice when Luo Tian and Yi Yu approached. If this was an enemy attack, he would most likely be dead. Thinking of this, his heart tightened and he became more vigilant towards Luo Tian and Yi Yu. Yu Lingjun was also paying close attention to them. However, she was more concerned about why even Yi Jioga's subordinates were all handsome men. One was beautiful, the other handsome. Was it because she was beautiful that she had such luck with women? She really couldn't accept this. "Yi Yu, Luo Tian, you're here." Gong Honglei took the initiative to greet them. Although he didn't have much contact with these people in Alchemy City, he recognized them as Yi Jioga's capable assistants. "Young Master Gong." Yi Yu also greeted. Luo Tian nodded unfamiliarly. "You too, tell Grandmaster Gong about the current situation of Blood Cloud Peak." Yi Jioga went straight to the point. "Yes, Blood Cloud Peak has sent more people to patrol and the Grand Formation has been activated. If we want to enter before the blood lotuses are harvested, we can only attack." Yi Yu solemnly explained the situation. "Attack then. I want to see just how powerful bloodthirsty sect's Grand Formation is." Wang Haoqiang shouted. The others also joined in. They didn't care about a small heretic sect like Bloodthirsty sect at all. Gong Shifan knew that Wang Haoqiang was trying to sow discord. He glanced at Yi Jioga. Seeing that she didn't say anything, he said, "We'll talk about the Grand Formation later. Everyone set up camp and rest. Honglei, you're in charge of supervising. First Miss, Luo Tian, Yi Yu, please come with me." With that, he brought Yi Jioga, Luo Tian, and Yi Yu to the side, clearly to discuss in secret. "Seriously, Grandmaster Gong, what can't he say in front of us? He's so secretive, as if he and Yi Jioga are on the same side." Yu Lingjun complained. Exactly. Xiao Xiaohua also had a lot of complaints about this. "Don't talk nonsense, my third uncle is just being cautious," Gong Honglei explained. "TCH, why don't you all look in the mirror and see what kind of face you have when you see young Lady Yi? Why would she tell you ingrates when she has insider information?" Bailey Moyun said disdainfully. "Bailey Moyun, don't speak as if you're not with us," Yu Lingjun said angrily. "Who's with you?" Bailey Moyun rolled his eyes at Yu Lingjun, then put his arm around Nangong Li's shoulder and said proudly, "Ali and I are in cahoots." Nangong Li expressionlessly moved Bailey Moyun's hand away and went to help Gong Honglei set up camp. Li, you really don't give me any face." Bailey Moyun put on a sorrowful expression. Chirp chirp chirp. The master didn't cry and stood up to rub. Xiao Tao comforted him. Xiao Tao is still the best. Bailey Moyun rubbed Xiao Tao's head. If he understood Xiao Tao's words, he didn't know if he would still be able to laugh. Mo Yun, stop playing with the bird. Hurry up and come over to help, Gong Honglei called out. I'm coming. Bailey Moyun walked over. Gong Shifan and Yi Jioga stood on the hillside and could clearly see that the spiritualist alliance was divided into two factions. One faction was naturally Nangong Li and Bailey Moyun. The other was Yu Lingjun, Xiao Shaohua, Wang Haoqiang, Lin Yanxi and the others. As Gong Shifan's nephew, Gong Honglei could barely be considered to be in the middle. With this motley crew, it will be very difficult to attack the bloodthirsty sect. Yi Jioga said bluntly. The more she knew about them, the more she disdained the disciples of the big sections. To use a phrase to describe them, their hearts were higher than the sky, but their lives were thinner than paper. They didn't have any abilities, but their eyes always looked up to the sky. They are used to being flattered in Thunder Nation, Gong Shifan said helplessly. These people were indeed the proud sons of heaven in Thunder Nation. They had never seen the world, so they naturally showed off. The core disciples of the big sects were definitely not as shallow as them. He was fortunate enough to see the true core disciples of the Limitless Sword Pavilion go on a mission. They were truly unparalleled, their swords piercing through the sky, causing people to tremble. However, it was useless to say all this now. The disciples of the big sects would not come to a small place like Thunder Nation. No matter how incompetent these guys were, he could only make do with them. Then let them have a taste of the mountain guarding formation, and at the same time, see what the two spies are planning, Yi Jioga suggested. Okay. Gong Shifan nodded. It was time to let these arrogant kids see the world. Next, Gong Shifan asked Yi Yu and Luo Tian about the mountain guarding formation in detail. Then, he started to plan in his heart. Yu Lingjun and the others did not know what was going on. When they heard that they were going to attack the bloodthirsty sect's mountain guarding formation tonight, they all gathered around the fire excitedly, imagining the scene of them showing off their might, breaking through the formation, and killing the bloodthirsty ancestor. Yi Jioga sat on the hillside, watching the motley crew talk. It was an indescribable feeling of exhaustion. If you don't like it, just kick them away. Zi Shang suddenly appeared and sat beside Yi Jioga, putting his hand on her shoulder. Didn't we agree to keep a low profile? Yi Jioga's shoulder shook, revealing Zi Shang's claws. Zi Shang blinked and kindly reminded, I just want to remind you of one thing. There are only 5 days left until we dual cultivate. We'll talk about it after this battle. Yi Jioga was not in the mood to think about dual cultivation. Understood. Zi Shang kissed Yi Jioga, then disappeared again. In Blood Cloud Mountain. Si Yuyue lazily sat on a spacious chair and casually asked the bloodthirsty ancestor, the people from the Spiritualist Alliance are here. What do you plan to do? Naturally, I will follow Elder Cho Sen's orders and kill them all. When the time comes, I will need the Great Messenger's help, the bloodthirsty ancestor said respectfully. Don't worry, ancestor. I will naturally help. Si Yuyue smiled and said, leave that expert called Yi Zi to me. I will leave those small fries from the Spiritualist Alliance to you. When the bloodthirsty ancestor heard this, his expression turned ugly. That was not all he wanted. Dealing with Yi Zi's corpse was enough. He wanted Si Yuyue to deal with the Spiritualist Alliance with him. However, it seemed that Si Yuyue did not want to do anything. Ancestor, are you not satisfied with this arrangement? Si Yuyue raised her slender eyebrows and smiled, then we can do an exchange. You deal with Yi Zi, and I will deal with the people from the Spiritualist Alliance. Great Messenger, you must be joking. How can I deal with Yi Zi? Only you can take him down. The bloodthirsty ancestor immediately put on a fawning expression. Even the intermediate spiritualist corpse could not take down Yi Zi, so there was no chance for him to do so. Moreover, such a powerful spiritualist, if he could completely kill it, it would be a good material to refine a corpse. When the time came, it would definitely be given to Elder Cho Senator. No matter how active he was, it would be useless. It was better for him to guard his Blood Cloud Mountain. Chapter 248. Right, Are there any suitable corpse refiners in the Spiritualist Alliance? Si Yue asked. She planned to offer Yi Zi to Elder Cho Sun, so she had to pick another batch of corpse refiners from the Spiritualist Alliance to fill her own pockets. This group of spiritualists are the elite disciples of big sections. Many of them have good aptitudes, but the one with the best aptitude is Yi Jioga. Her maternal grandfather, Yun Wei, was once a very famous spirit alchemist. She herself has a mutated thunder spirit root and has extraordinary combat power. She is also very proficient in alchemy. Bloodthirsty Ancestor's plan in Alchemy City was ruined by Yi Jioga, so he immediately pushed the blame to Si Yue. Sea of Cloud? Si Yue was slightly startled. Lady Emissary, have you heard of the Sea of Cloud? Bloodthirsty Ancestor noticed Si Yue's abnormality. The Sea of Cloud was also a great alchemist, but it was nothing in the eyes of the corpse sect. Never heard of it. Si Yue looked down. She remembered that Elder Cho Sun had come to Thunder Nation in private for a spiritualist who was very good at alchemy. However, something happened to the corpse sect and Elder Cho Sun quickly returned. Bloodthirsty Ancestor was sent to Thunder Nation to cultivate the Blood Lotus. Bloodthirsty Ancestor saw that Si Yue didn't want to talk anymore, so he changed the topic. He wanted to talk about dealing with the Spiritualist Alliance, but Si Yue didn't want to listen anymore. She stood up and left. Bloodthirsty Ancestor watched her slender figure leave with a sinister glint in his eyes. Little girl, I'll let you be arrogant for a while longer. I'll deal with you sooner or later. The Spiritualist Alliance's encampment. The sky was bright, and the golden sunlight bathed the entire forest. After a night of rest, the Spiritualist Alliance looked very spirited. They were all ready to attack Blood Cloud Peak. I thought the Blood Cloud Peak would ambush us. I didn't expect them to be so patient. Gong Shifan asked Yi Jioga strangely. Ambushing them won't do them any good. Yi Jioga said. The Blood Cloud Peak could rely on the protective formation to take care of these rookies. Why would they need to ambush them? Gong Shifan understood Yi Jioga's meaning and couldn't help but sigh. He resigned himself to his fate and went to reorganize the overly excited and messy team. Bailey Moyun, Nangong Li, Gong Honglei, the three of you have the highest cultivations. Gong Shifan had already thought about the team allocation last night, and there was no hesitation when he arranged it. After the allocation, he pretended to be very natural and added, the remaining Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi will be in my team, and we will support everyone at any time. When Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi heard this division, their hearts were startled. Could it be that they had been exposed? That was impossible. They had been hiding in their respective sects for so many years and had never given themselves away. They had been very careful when they joined the team this time. Until now, they hadn't sent any message to Forefather Bloodthirsty. Gong Shifan couldn't know. With this in mind, both of them calmed down and decided to take this opportunity to find out Gong Shifan's background. It would be best if he could take the opportunity to kill Gong Shifan. Let's go. Gong Shifan gave the order and led everyone to the foot of Blood Cloud Peak. The once lush foot of the mountain was now covered by an endless blood mist. Even the bright sunlight couldn't penetrate it. Standing on the side, they could smell the pungent stench coming from inside. Gong Shifan shot a golden spirit light at the blood mist. After the golden spirit light entered the blood mist, it was like falling into a deep pool and quickly disappeared without a trace. Everyone be careful. Eat the insect repellent pill first. Gong Shifan took out the Yin pill that Yi Jioga had refined and swallowed it. The others did the same. Even the pickiest Yu Lingshan didn't dare to use this as a joke. When the Yin pill entered the stomach, it would instantly turn cold. Yu Lingjun immediately noticed something was wrong and shouted, "What's going on? Is this spirit pill fake? Why does it look like a Yin pill? It's not fake. It's a een pill, Yi Jioga said. You dare to use een pills to scare us? Yu Lingjun angrily asked. When she had checked these pills before, she hadn't noticed that they were een pills. If she had discovered it earlier, she would have definitely asked Yi Jioga to return them. Scare or not, as long as it's useful. Yi Jioga was too lazy to deal with Li Yu Lingjun. He took the lead and brought Luo Tian and Yi Yu into the mountain protecting array. Ali, let's go. Bailey Maoyun shouted. Together with Nangong Li, they followed. In the blink of an eye, the three groups disappeared into the red mist. Are you guys going or not? Gong Honglei frowned as he looked at Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua. To be honest, he was also very annoyed with Yu Lingjun. If it wasn't for his uncle's order, he wouldn't be in the same group as this woman. Let's go. Why not? Yu Lingjun gritted her teeth and said, I want to see how powerful this een pill is. Then let's go. Gong Honglei took out his newly refined Raging Flame sword and rushed in. Xiao Xiaohua pulled Yu Lingjun and followed closely. Grandmaster? Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanqi looked at Gong Shifan. Let's go. Gong Shifan calmly led Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanqi into the red mist. The visibility in the red mist was even lower. There was a poisonous miasma everywhere. Yi Jioga only took a few breaths. The grayish grease on his body quickly came out layer by layer. It could be seen how powerful the poisonous miasma was. Ah, why is there so much grease on my body? Yi Jioga, what kind of stupid pill are you refining? Yu Lingjun's scream came from behind. Yi Jioga simply wanted to roll his eyes. Did this missy think that she was on an outing? She actually made such a sound in the enemy's camp. She really didn't want to die fast enough. Be careful, the blood mosquitoes are coming. Luo Tian's sharp eyes saw a large red cloud flying towards them. The blood cloud that was flying the fastest was heading in the direction of Yu Lingjun and the others. Everyone be careful. Yi Jioga took out his Thunder Snake illusionary whip. His expression also became serious. Not only were there more blood mosquitoes this time, they also looked more ferocious. Although their bodies were only the size of soybeans, the blood thorns on their mouths were incomparably thick. A single stab would definitely make a hole. With so many blood mosquitoes rushing over, the een dan might not be able to hold on. They had to attack. Kill. Yi Jioga took the initiative to attack. His Thunder Snake illusionary whip turned into purple lightning and ruthlessly lashed at the blood mosquitoes. Although Yi Yu did not have a spirit equipment, his skill was special. He could hide in the shadows and temporarily avoid the blood mosquitoes. Then, he could use puppet kill to control the blood mosquitoes to kill each other. Black Tyrant squatted on Yi Yu's shoulder with its small eyes. It turned into a black shadow and devoured the blood mosquitoes that tried to get close to its master. Although Luo Tian did not have a spirit equipment, he had an existence that was even more powerful than a spirit equipment. Chapter 249. After Luo Tian's goo worm, Xiaohong, was injured by Junichen, it was a blessing in disguise and completed its third evolution into a blood jade spider. Its entire body was red, and there were strange black patterns on its back that looked like folded wings. Facing the attack of the blood mosquitoes, it let out an angry roar. It opened its mouth and spat out a red spider web that wrapped around Luo Tian. After the attacking blood mosquitoes were caught in the spider web, they quickly became Xiaohong's food. Luo Tian was very safe inside the spider web. She chanted the insect control spell to disrupt the blood mosquitoes' attacks and killed many of them. The most pitiful one was Yi Jioga. Decease stood beside her while invisible. The blood mosquitoes did not dare to approach Decease, so they swarmed towards Yi Jioga. Yi Jiuge could only painstakingly brandish her thunder snake illusionary whip to kill those blood mosquitoes. However, with Yi Yu and Luo Tian by her side, she quickly stabilized her footing. At this moment, Bailey Moyun was in some trouble. When they first encountered the blood mosquitoes, the two female spirit practitioners that followed him hid behind him and did not even take out their spirit weapons. In the end, Xiao Tao took the lead and opened her mouth to sing loudly at the blood mosquitoes. Chirp 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 chirp. The unique sound wave spread out, and the blood mosquitoes' attacks immediately stopped. Bailey Moyun took this opportunity to form a sword art. The dragon-slaying sword rose into the sky and turned into a green rainbow as it slashed forward. The sword light surged forward with an indomitable will, and forcefully cut the blood cloud into two halves. Although more than half of the blood mosquitoes were killed, the remaining one still rushed over and quickly surrounded the two female spirit practitioners behind Bailey Moyun. Ah, help! The two female spirit practitioners screamed at the same time and rushed into Bailey Moyun's embrace. If it was a normal situation, Bailey Moyun would not mind enjoying such a rush. However, the situation was dire. The two female spirit practitioners were covered in ash and the bodies of the blood mosquitoes. They looked like monsters. He would be crazy to approach them. Thus, Bailey Moyun nimbly dodged to the side and shouted, "Don't be afraid, junior sisters. These blood mosquitoes are very easy to kill. Senior brother, I'm afraid. Senior brother, protect me." The two female spiritualists let out weak cries for help at the same time. Bailey Moyun looked at the woman who was still acting coquettishly even though she was covered in blood mosquitoes. He couldn't help but cast a pleading look at Yi Jiuge. Yi Jiuge was not far from him, waving his lightning snake illusory whip. Sensing Bailey Moyun's cry for help, she very loyally lashed her whip in that direction and shouted to the two female spirit practitioners, "If you want to live, then pick up your spirit weapon and fight. Other than yourself, no one can help you. Trash does not have the right to live. You're the trash. You're the one who doesn't have the qualifications to become a living cultivator." The two female spirit practitioners did not hear Bailey Moyun's consolation, but they heard Yi Jiuge's mockery. A ball of spirit light washed away the blood mosquitoes on their bodies, and they took out their spirit artifacts to kill the blood mosquitoes with all their might. The corpses of the blood mosquitoes fell like raindrops. The two girls had killed even more than Bailey Moyun. Bailey Moyun silently dodged to the side. He could not afford to hurt a raging woman. Nangong Li's situation was not bad either. The little eagle goo flapped its wings and sprinted in the red clouds like lightning. Its innate skill was poison feather light. Patches of black feather light cut the blood mosquitoes apart. Nangong Li found an opportunity and threw out a stack of low-level talismans. Boom boom boom. Flames shot everywhere, light and shadow were fierce. The huge power of the talismans quickly killed more than half of the blood mosquitoes. The two male spirit practitioners behind Nangong Li panicked at first. Later, they realized that Nangong Li was able to withstand the attack alone, so they quickly calmed down and hid behind him to kill the lone blood mosquitoes. Everyone had already started to get into a good situation, but Gong Honglei's side was in a mess. Yu Lingjuan's crazy complaints attracted countless blood mosquitoes. Although Gong Honglei took out his blazing sword in time, and Xiao Xiaohua and the other male spirit practitioner responded well, they still could not stop the crazily surging blood mosquitoes. If not for the green praying mantis squatting on Gong Honglei's shoulder to help, his situation would have been even more dangerous. The green praying mantis's innate skill was wind blades. Its iron walls interweaved into green shadows, killing all the blood mosquitoes that approached Gong Honglei. "Gong Honglei, quickly get your green praying mantis to protect me." Yu Lingjun stood behind Gong Honglei and ordered. She was the granddaughter of ancestor Lingyun and the only woman in this team. These men had the obligation to protect her. Who the hell has time to care about you? Either fight or die. Gong Honglei could not stand Yu Lingjun anymore and cursed. Xiao Xiaohua stood beside Gong Honglei. Normally, he would definitely jump out to speak for Yu Lingjun. But now, the sky was full of blood mosquitoes. If not for the protection of Yi Jiuga's core, he might have been sucked dry by the blood mosquitoes. He would not be in the mood to suck up to Yu Lingjun. How dare you do this to me? Yu Lingjun screamed in anger. Gong Honglei did not have time to care about her. His blazing sword stabbed out one red sword light after another, but still could not stop the blood mosquito's attack. Yu Lingjun also realized that the situation was not good. She hurriedly took out her spirit artifact, a red spirit brocade embroidered with all kinds of runes. Usually, when she used this spirit artifact, it would flash with beautiful light and shadows, and she felt that she was very beautiful. She was very reluctant to use it to deal with these ugly and disgusting blood mosquitoes, so she only defended and did not attack. Even when Xiao Xiaohua asked her for help, she pretended not to hear. Fortunately, Gong Xiaofan arrived in time with Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang. They took over most of the blood mosquitoes, relieving the pressure on Gong Honglei and the others. Blood Cloud Peak. Bloodthirsty Elder and Si Yueyue were observing Yi Jiuga and the others through a water mirror. What does Lady Emissary think of these two? Bloodthirsty Elder pointed at Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li. These two had the best performance. One had unparalleled sword chi, the other a talisman expert. They were both excellent seedlings. Not bad. Si Yueyue revealed a satisfied smile. Not only were these two talented, but they were also very good-looking. They would definitely be very nourishing in bed. Such good seedlings. Doesn't Lady Emissary want to pick them yourself? Bloodthirsty Elder smiled. No need. They are just materials for refining corpses. It will be the same if Elder Emissary helps me get them, Si Yueyue said with a smile. Elder Chosen asked her to kill Bloodthirsty Elder. She did not act because she wanted to use Bloodthirsty Elder to deal with the Spiritualist Alliance. Why would she help him instead? Lord Emissary, if these Spiritualists fail to attack the Great Mountain Barrier Formation, they might retreat back to Thunder Nation. At that time, it will be difficult for you to attack them. Ancestor Bloodthirsty also laughed. In any case, it wasn't the few good materials that he had his eyes on. Humph. Si Yueyue really cared about the two male spiritualists. She definitely did not want to let them go. She took out the corpse control token and ordered the demon corpse, "Bring those two to me." The demon corpse appeared without a sound, then turned into a black shadow and disappeared. Chapter 250. The protective mountain formation was filled with yin qi, and the red mist was getting thicker. The blood mosquitoes seemed to be endless. Fortunately, Bailey Moyun, Nangong Li, and the rest were getting better at dealing with the blood mosquitoes. Even Gong Honglei's group was getting better without Yu Lingjun holding them back. Young mistress, it seems like these people are still useful. Yi Yu said to Yi Jiuga while killing the blood mosquitoes. It's all right. At least it was better than she had expected. Yi Jiuga saw that it was about time. Just as she was about to talk to Gong Xiaofan about retreating, Zi Shang's voice sounded, "The demonic corpse is out." What? The demonic corpse was dead. Before Yi Jiuga could react, she saw a black shadow flying over from the blood cloud peak. Red clouds rolled, and demonic aura soared into the sky. A pair of black demonic claws grabbed at Bailey Moyun and the rest at the front. Bailey Moyun reacted quickly and made a sword sign. The dragon-slaying sword glowed brightly and slashed at the demonic claws. A loud bang resounded. The dragon-slaying sword was slapped back by the demonic claws. Blood seeped out of the corner of Bailey Moyun's mouth, and he took a few steps back. Nangongli had been paying attention to Bailey Moyun's situation. Seeing that he was in danger, he immediately released a stack of talismans to protect him. The demonic claws continued to fall, and the spiritualists were in chaos. The blood mosquitoes that had been isolated outside swarmed in again. Amidst the chaos, a palm-sized bronze mirror flew into the sky and shot out hundreds of golden rays to block the black demonic claws. Gong Xiaofan saw that the situation was bad and took out his 100 Eyes spiritual mirror. This 100 Eyes spiritual mirror was made by him using sand gold. It could attack and defend, and was very powerful. Unfortunately, it was not enough to deal with the demonic claws. The demonic claws flashed and doubled in size, pressing down on the 100 Eyes spiritual mirror. Gong Xiaofan's pupils shrank. He knew that this demonic corpse was powerful, but he did not expect it to be so powerful that he was not its match. Third uncle, what do we do? Gong Honglei had used up too much energy and could not hold on any longer. Retreat. Gong Xiaofan injected spiritual power into the bronze mirror and raised the demonic claws a little higher. Hearing that they had to retreat, Yu Lingjun was the first to turn around and rush out. In an instant, she rushed out of the mountain defense formation. Qiao Shaohua and the others followed suit and rushed out regardless. The defensive formation that they had maintained collapsed in an instant. Bailey Moyun, Nangongli and Gong Honglei were all at the front line. Everyone retreated without saying a word. All of a sudden, all the pressure was on them. The blood mosquitoes also seized this opportunity to attack Bailey Moyun. Bailey Moyun had already suffered internal injuries, and he was struck by the mosquitoes. When Xiao Tao saw that her master was injured, she immediately let out a hysterical cry. A circle of light rippled out from Bailey Moyun. When the blood mosquitoes' attack was stopped, Little Green and Little Eagle also burst forth with power. The green shadow and the black light intertwined to form a net, protecting their respective masters. Gong Xiaofan desperately increased the output of spirit power to the copper mirror, but the huge demon claw was still pressing down inch by inch. It seemed that it would not last much longer. Seeing this, Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang could not help but look at each other. Just as they were about to take the opportunity to attack Gong Xiaofan, Luo Tian and Yi Yu rushed over and shouted, "Master Gong, we will protect you." Only then did the two of them put away the idea of attacking. They pretended to attack the blood mosquitoes, but intentionally or unintentionally left gaps in their defense in an attempt to lure the blood mosquitoes in. Yi Jiuge saw all of this. She knew that Gong Xiaofan could not hold on for long, so she said to Zishang, who was hiding at the side, "What are you waiting for?" Zishang stretched his waist and stretched out his white jade-like hand. His palm aimed at the black claw in the sky. An arm-thick purple-black spirit power burst out of his hand and turned into a spear that blasted the black demon claw away. The demon corpse immediately revealed itself and let out a sharp howl as it rushed towards Zishang. Zishang flew up and fought with the demon corpse. The surging clouds chewed up the blood mosquitoes into countless pieces. "Let's go." Yi Jiuge used the Thunder Snake illusionary whip to open a path while Gong Xiaofan used the 100 Eyes spirit mirror to protect everyone. Only then did they retreat safely. In the Spiritualist Alliance's camp, the spiritualists that escaped earlier gathered together. When they saw Gong Xiaofan and the others coming from afar, they all revealed nervous expressions. Only Yu Lingjun, the weirdo, did not feel guilty. Instead, she complained to Gong Xiaofan, "Master Gong, why did you guys take so long to come out? We were so worried." Slap. Yi Jiuge suddenly slapped Yu Lingjun, causing her to take 2 steps back. Her face, which was still stained with blood, immediately swelled up. "You hit me?" Yu Lingjun covered her face and looked at Yi Jiuge in disbelief. Previously, no matter how she ridiculed and insulted him, Yi Jiuge acted as if nothing happened. She had always thought that Yi Jiuge was a coward. She did not expect that he would dare to hit her at this time. Abandoning your comrades and escaping, this slap is still light. Yi Jioga's beautiful face revealed a dense coldness, stunning Yu Lingjun. Who said that we abandoned our comrades and escaped? We were helping you clear a path of retreat, okay? Yu Lingjun made a fuss and did not forget to pull Xiao Xiaohua and the others. Don't you think so? That's right, we were not escaping, we were just helping you clear a path of retreat. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come back so easily. Xiao Xiaohua braced himself and said. That's right, that's right. Everyone responded. The law did not punish the masses. At this time, who would dare to admit to being a deserter? Shut up. Gong Shifan suddenly shouted. His stern gaze swept across Xiao Xiaohua and the other spiritualists. The spiritualists avoided his gaze guiltily. Even Yu Lingjun did not dare to look at Gong Shifan. It's everyone's first time facing a demonic corpse. I can understand your fear, terror, and nervousness. However, Bailey Moyun, Nangong Li, Gong Honglei, and the others have been standing in front of you. Yet, you carried them and escaped. This behavior is truly shameful and hateful. We must not tolerate it. Gong Shifan's voice was filled with anger. Every spiritualist who heard him could not help but feel ashamed. They lowered their heads and did not dare to look at him. Master Gong, our team cooperated very well just now. I believe that they did not abandon us on purpose. Please give them a chance to atone for their crimes, Bailey Moyun said, trying to smooth things over. That's right. I saw Yu Lingjun run. I thought it was Master Gong's order, so I followed her. A spiritualist suddenly said. When the other spiritualists heard this excuse, they did not hesitate to target Yu Lingjun. She misled us. T. Did I force you to run with a knife? Don't throw shit at me. You are not good people either. Yu Lingjun flew into a rage. She completely disregarded her identity as a disciple of a large sect. Chapter 251. Enough, all of you shut up. Gong Shifan raised his hand and his pressure enveloped them. Yu Lingjun bit her lower lip and did not say anything. The others did not dare to make a sound and looked at Gong Shifan in fear. You are all in the wrong in this matter. Seeing that you are the ones who offended me, each of you will receive a whip as punishment. Gong Shifan said resolutely and then asked Yi Jioga, I ask Miss Yi to help me carry out the punishment. As you command. Yi Jioga held the Thunder Snake illusionary whip with both hands and pulled it. Lightning shot out in all directions and crackled. She had wanted to whip these guys for a long time. Everyone looked at each other, no one dared to move. Everyone has a share, you can't avoid it. Yi Jioga scanned the crowd and finally fixed his eyes on Yu Lingjun. Yu Lingjun immediately pulled on Xiao Xiaohua's sleeve. Xiao Xiaohua braced himself and said to Yi Jioga, Miss Yi, my junior sister is young and insensible. She is also a girl, can I take her whip? If you can take the whip for her, can you take her to fight, eat and cultivate? Yi Jioga looked at the female spirit practitioners with disdain and said, you don't even have the courage to take responsibility for your mistakes. Hurry and scram back to embroider. Who said no? Fine, I'll go first. A pretty female spirit practitioner clenched her teeth and stood out. This girl was called Su Sun Er, a disciple of Seven Way Pavilion. She was in the same group as Bailey Moyun. Okay, stand properly. Yi Jioga said and raised the whip toward Su Sun Er's back. Su Sun Er nervously closed her eyes and tensed up waiting for the whip to fall. With a loud bang, the Thunder Snake illusionary whip flashed with a glaring purple light and ruthlessly landed on Su Sun Er's body. Su Sun Er's body could not help but tremble, but she found that it did not hurt at all. She could not help but look at Yi Jioga in surprise. Next, Yi Jioga held the whip and changed the target. Xiao Sun, are you okay? Xia Chenxi, who was in the same group as her, hurried over to support her. She looked at her with eyes filled with worry and fear. This Xia Chenxi was a disciple of the Heavenly Fragrance sect. Although her appearance was not as good as Lin Yanxi's, she was very good at acting coquettishly to please others. Therefore, the male spirit practitioners in her team took good care of her. She had never thought that one day she would be whipped in public. She was so nervous that she was about to throw up. Don't be afraid. It will be over soon. Su Sun Er squeezed Xia Chenxi's hand, which was also a hint to her. Xia Chenxi looked at Su Sun Er's calm eyes in confusion. She wanted to ask a few more questions, but Su Sun Er walked to the side. She knew that it was enough that Yi Jioga had shown mercy. If she said it out loud, she would offend others. After Xia Chenxi was tortured, she discovered that the whip that Yi Jioga had lashed out with was loud thunder but small raindrops. It did not hurt at all. She understood this and chose to remain silent. Yi Jioga had indeed shown mercy to Su Sun Er and Xia Chenxi. This was because these two female spiritualists had performed quite well just now and were worth nurturing. However, she would not be polite to Yu Lingjun and the other male spiritualists. A single whip was guaranteed to pierce through their hearts, but it wouldn't hurt their muscles or bones. After all, she still had to rely on them to break the mountain guarding formation. Wouldn't it be letting them off easy if she injured them? Damn bitch, I will never let her go. Yu Lingjun was slapped and whipped by Yi Jioga. Her hatred for Yi Jioga was really unforgettable. Junior sister, bear with it. Xiao Xiaohua pulled Yu Lingjun's sleeve and persuaded. Now everyone had a lot of opinions about them. If they continued to show their temper, they might be killed in the mountain guarding formation later. Coward. Yu Lingjun slapped Xiao Xiaohua's face, turned around and ran away aggrievedly. If Xiao Xiaohua could be a little tougher, would he still have to suffer like this? It was all because he was too useless. Xiao Xiaohua did not expect Yu Lingjun to treat him like this. He was stunned on the spot. The sarcastic laughter from the other spiritualists behind him made him even more ashamed. Yu Lingjun, if her grandfather was not Ancestor Lingyun, he would not have looked at her at all. Xiao Xiaohua clenched his fists, but if something really happened to Yu Lingjun here, Ancestor Lingyun would definitely not let him go. Therefore, he endured the humiliation in his heart and chased after Yu Lingjun, wanting to continue to please and comfort her. Don't run too far. Gong Honglei got up and shouted. Although this place was very far from the mountain guarding formation, it was difficult to guarantee that the people of the bloodthirsty sect would not appear. I don't need your fake kindness. Yu Lingjun replied fiercely to Gong Honglei, then slapped Xiao Xiaohua, who had caught up, and ran into the distant forest. Xiao Xiaohua chased after her while shouting for his junior sister. What a cheap wretch! Bailey Moyun said while clicking his tongue. Maybe he has some difficulties. Gong Honglei still sympathized with Xiao Xiaohua. It was definitely not good to follow such an unruly young lady. TSK, what difficulties? He just wants to suck up to her. Bailey Moyun said disdainfully, even if you want to suck up to her, you have to wipe your eyes, or you will be trampled to death at any time. You're right, raising one's cultivation is the most important thing. Playing this kind of trick is really neglecting the essentials. Gong Honglei shook his head. He was born in a branch of the Gong family and had been looked down upon and discriminated against. In the end, he used his own strength to convince everyone and gain the favor of the main family. Therefore, he sincerely felt that Xiao Xiaohua was wrong. Honglei, be careful. Nangongli suddenly said. Although it was only 4 words, everyone understood what he meant. Xiao Xiaohua and Yu Lingjun were in the same group as him. Now that the two of them were in a bad condition, they might drag him down. Don't worry, my uncle knows what he's doing. When Gong Shifan handed these two troublemakers to Gong Honglei, he had also told him that he could abandon them if necessary, but his own life was more important. Just as they were talking, Su Sun Er and Xia Chenxi suddenly walked over together. Beauty, we're very tired now. Let's chat next time. Bailey Moyun blinked his peach blossom eyes and began to flirt. Don't think too highly of yourself. We're not here to look for you. Unexpectedly, Su Sun Er rolled her eyes at Bailey Moyun. Previously, she saw that Bailey Moyun's aptitude was outstanding and he was also handsome, so she wanted to develop a relationship with him. However, the encounter at the protective mountain formation and the whipping this time had made her deeply understand the profound truth that even a sow could climb a tree and a man could be relied on. Therefore, she wanted to discuss business with Yi Jioga. Xia Chenxi also had the same idea as her. Eldest miss, can you sell us 2 goo worms? Su Sun Er asked. Their group was covered with blood mosquitoes. Only Yi Yu, Luo Tian, Bailey Moyun, Nangong Li and Gong Honglei, who were raising goo, were unharmed. The power of goo worms was obvious, they were simply life-saving weapons. Therefore, they also wanted to buy 2. There were many people who had such thoughts. This was also the reason why no one dared to make a sound when they were beaten earlier. They wanted to build a good relationship with Yi Jioga so that they could get a goo worm from her. Chapter 252. Sorry, it's not easy to cultivate goo worms, I can't take them out now. Yi Jioga declined. She didn't want to use goo worms as a tool to earn money, those cute little fellows were worth cherishing. Then can I make a reservation with you? After you cultivate them, sell them to me first. You can name the price, as long as I can afford it, I won't bargain. Su Sun Er said without hesitation. Xia Chenxi hesitated, she only wanted to buy goo worms to deal with this mission, if the price was too high, it would be a loss. Let's talk about it later. Yi Jioga smiled, neither refusing nor agreeing. Although her goo worms were powerful, they were not mainstream. The mainstream in Zhanglan continent was still raising spirit beasts. She was afraid that when they have good spirit beasts in the future, they would throw goo worms aside. Alright. Although Su Sun Er was slightly disappointed, she didn't continue to pester and left with Xia Chenxi. Gong Shifan happened to come over. After knowing the purpose of Su Sun Er's visit, he casually asked, "Eldest lady, have you ever thought of buying a spirit beast? Our Gong family also has people in the Imperial Beast sect. If you are interested, I can help you pull some strings." In his mind, goo worms were naturally unorthodox, raising spirit beasts was the right way. However, Thunder Nation was a small place, there were no big spirit beast houses, and the spirit beasts sold were all low rank. High-rank spirit beasts were very expensive, and raising spirit beasts was not easy. Besides the necessary spirit beast pills, they had to eat high-rank demonic beast meat frequently to ensure their bloodthirst. To cultivate them to advance, the difficulty was no less than cultivating a spirit practitioner, so besides the disciples of big clans and sects, it was difficult for ordinary people to raise a good spirit beast. However, Yi Jioga was a spirit pill master, this was not a problem for her. No need. Yi Jioga had purple decease, treasure-seeking scorpion couple, little mother goo, and fat black rat. There were too many animals, she was powerless. Chirp chirp chirp. Xiao Tao suddenly jumped on Bailey Moyun's head and shouted, "Master, you dare to raise a mistress, this is too much. What does this guy want?" Bailey Moyun looked at Yi Jioga angrily. Xiao Tao asked if you raise spirit beasts. Yi Jioga looked at Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li. These two were the core disciples of the main division, they should not have to worry about resources. I don't. Nangong Li shook his head. He didn't have the energy to take care of spiritual beasts. I have a cloud leopard. But don't worry, I will treat everyone equally. I will always treat Xiao Tao well. Bailey Moyun almost swore to the heavens. Chirp chirp chirp. Xiao Tao shouted arrogantly, if you dare to treat me badly, I will go back and seek refuge with the eldest Mississippi. Alright. Seeing how smart Xiao Tao was, Yi Jiuge was relieved. Uncle, Yu Lingjun and the others have been gone for a long time. Do you want to go and have a look? Gong Honglei did not forget to pay attention to the whereabouts of Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua while chatting. Let's go take a look. Gong Xiaofan said. Yi Jiuge suddenly had a bad feeling. He got up and said, I'll go with you to take a look. Just as Luo Tian and Yi Yu were about to follow, Yi Jiuge stopped them. Look after the others. The others he was referring to were naturally Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi. Although the two of them looked quite honest, there was no guarantee that they wouldn't cause trouble at this critical moment. Yi Jiuge and Gong Honglei walked in the direction that Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua left for a full mile, but they did not find the two of them. Where did they go? Gong Honglei frowned. Normal people would not be too far away from the base camp. But thinking of Yu Lingjun's brainless character, he was not sure. You and Xiao Lu go over there, we'll split up and look for them. Yi Jiuge suggested. Although the green praying mantis was not a tracking goo, it was still stronger than Gong Honglei. Okay. Gong Honglei summoned Xiao Lu and walked east with it. Yi Jiuge chose the opposite direction. She walked for a while and saw that there was no one around. She rolled up her sleeves and called out to the imprint, Zi Shang, are you okay? She did not expect that Zi Shang would appear just as she finished speaking. Yi Jiuge was almost shocked. He stared and asked, when did you come back? Where's the demon corpse? The demon corpse was summoned back. I came back a long time ago and have been by your side. Speaking of which, you were so cute when you whipped people just now. Come, give me a kiss. Zi Shang smiled and kissed Yi Jiuge's cheek. He liked it when she bullied people the most. Don't be disgusting. Did you see Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua just now? Yi Jiuge coldly wiped the saliva off his face. Yes. Zi Shang nodded, then squinted his eyes and smiled, if you want to know, beg me. Beg my ass, can't I check it myself? Yi Jiuge said and turned to leave. Brother Xiaojiu is so boring. Zi Shang pulled Yi Jiuge and kissed him again before saying, those two idiots fell into bloodthirsty sex trap and were captured. If I remember correctly, you're with us, right? Zi Shang actually watched as the bloodthirsty sect took him away. What was wrong with his brain? These two are too annoying. Let them go and harm bloodthirsty sect. To be honest, if Yi Jiuge hadn't whipped them, Zi Shang would have killed them himself. Zi Shang's words made sense, and Yi Jiuge was speechless. Just then, Gong Honglei's voice came from afar, eldest miss, there's a situation here. I'll go over and take a look. Continue to be invisible. Yi Jiuge mercilessly left Zi Shang behind and sped through the woods. Zi Shang shook his head helplessly, turned invisible, and followed beside her. Here. Gong Honglei waved at Yi Jiuge from afar. What's wrong? Yi Jiuge came to Gong Honglei's side. The weedy wasteland in front of him suddenly revealed several large pits. It was obvious that they were blasted by a spell. Do you think this hairpin belongs to Yu Lingjun? Gong Honglei asked as he took out a blue crystal hairpin. Yes. Yi Jiuge nodded. She had seen Yu Lingjun wear it before. Looks like they were captured by bloodthirsty sect. Gong Honglei's expression was solemn. The huge pit still had the unique smell of bloodthirsty sect's techniques. Let's go back and report this to Master Gong. Yi Jiuge was also helpless. Although this was Yu Lingjuan's fault, she was still a member of the team. It was up to Gong Shifan to decide how to deal with her. Idiot! When Gong Shifan heard that Yu Lingjun and the others ran a mile away and were captured by bloodthirsty sect, he was so angry that his liver hurt. Wang Haoqiang said sarcastically, if Miss Yu wasn't wronged, why would she run so far away? At the end of the day, you can only blame someone for being too ruthless. Senior brother Wang, don't talk nonsense. Lin Yanxi looked at Wang Haoqiang reproachfully, then sighed and said faintly, Miss Yu is a girl after all. Now that she's in danger, I really don't know how to explain this to Ancestor Lingyun when we go back. What are you worried about? Someone's younger sister is Ancestor Lingyun's favorite. She won't. Before Wang Haoqiang could finish his sarcastic words, he saw a whip in the air fiercely lashing at him. Chapter 253. Wang Haoqiang rolled on the ground, trying to avoid the whip. He didn't expect the whip to be as agile as a snake. After it caught up to him, it used his head as a hammer and smashed it on a rock. Wang Haoqiang's eyes rolled back and he fainted. Yi Jioga, what is the meaning of this? Lin Yanxi was furious. She was about to condemn Yi Jioga's immoral behavior, but she found the whip twisting and pouncing towards her. Lin Yanxi quickly took out her fragrant spirit handkerchief, but Luo Tian and Yi Yu disappeared. In the next moment, her figure was controlled by Yi Yu, and the fragrant spirit handkerchief was taken away by Luo Tian. Boo-hoo, how can you bully people like this? Lin Yanxi's pretty face was pale, and her tears fell like pearls. Yi Jioga, you're going too far. A few male spirit practitioners who admired Lin Yanxi wanted to be a hero and save the beauty, but they were shocked by Gong Weihai's spirit master pressure. Gong Shifan clearly stood by Yi Jioga's side. Yi Jioga shook his hand, and the thunder snake illusion whip ruthlessly struck Lin Yanxi's body. Lin Yanxi's face was pale from the pain, and her forehead was covered in cold sweat, looking very pitiful. A few male spirit practitioners couldn't bear to see this, and glared at Yi Jioga. Yi Jioga put away the thunder whip with a cold face. He already knew that Lin Yanxi would pretend to be seriously injured, so he helped her. Master Gong, junior apprentice Sister Lin didn't do anything wrong. Miss Yi is going too far. A tall male spirit practitioner immediately stood up to speak for Lin Yanxi. Sowing discord is not wrong? Gong Shifan's dignified gaze swept across the spirit practitioners, and he said coldly, I've said it here, if anyone dares to sway our morale, kill without mercy. The male spirit practitioners looked at each other, but didn't dare to say anything. Although they had a good impression of Lin Yanxi, they wouldn't go against Gong Shifan, a spirit master, for her. Thinking about it carefully, it was indeed Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanxi who made mistakes first. These two didn't have any friendship with Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua, so it was no wonder that they were taught a lesson. At that moment, Gong Honglei said, Third uncle, Miss Yu and junior brother Qiao are our people after all. We can't just watch them die in bloodthirsty sect. We have to think of a way to save them. We can't even break the protective array. Saving them is easier said than done. Su Sun Er sighed. The crowd of spiritualists fell silent again. They could not even deal with the blood mosquito, let alone the bloodthirsty sect. At this moment, a thin spiritualist named Sun Shufeng said timidly, Why don't we go back and get reinforcements first? Who's going? Bailey Maoyun asked. Of course, everyone goes back together. Sun Shufeng said quickly. Yes, the bloodthirsty sect is too difficult to deal with. Let's go back and get reinforcements. The spiritualists nodded quickly. The tragedy of the Great Mountain Guarding Formation had already made them want to retreat. If you want to go back on your own. I will definitely destroy Bloodthirsty Ancestor, said Yi Jioga. The spiritualists immediately looked at Gong Shifan. If you want to go back, you can leave now, but only for today. If anyone leaves tomorrow, I will treat them as deserters and kill them without mercy. Gong Shifan made it clear that he would continue to attack the bloodthirsty sect. The spiritualists immediately fell silent. Yu Lingjun and Xiao Xiaohua's fates had already let them know that if they left alone, they would only be defeated one by one. Actually, everyone doesn't need to be so depressed. As long as everyone works together, we can think of a way to break this great mountain guarding formation sooner or later. Everyone is tired today. Go and rest first. Gong Honglei came out to smooth things over. The spiritualists silently dispersed, each of them looking listless. Gong Shifan walked to Yi Jioga's side and asked in a low voice, I wonder if Miss Yi has a way to break this formation? Let me think. Yi Jioga naturally had a way, but he still needed to make some arrangements. There's not much time left. Gong Shifan frowned. The blood lotus would bloom in 4 days. I will hurry. After Yi Jioga sent Gong Shifan off, he called Yi Yu over and asked, didn't you say that Skinny Monkey is someone your sister trusts? Can we ask him for help? I can try, but I can't enter the Blood Cloud Peak right now. Yi Yu had always wanted to find Skinny Monkey to ask about his sister. Unfortunately, he couldn't pass through the Great Mountain Guarding Formation. Yi Jioga thought for a moment and said, I'll let Zi Shang bring you in. Now, only Zi Shang could freely enter and exit the Great Mountain Guarding Formation. Alright, when do you want to go? Yi Yu's eyes lit up. Wait for my news. If he wanted to ask Zi Shang for help, he had to pay a price. As expected, when Zi Shang heard Yi Jioga's request, he unceremoniously pounced on her and ravaged her. Only then did he satisfyingly carry Yi Yu away. A beast will always be a beast. Yi Jioga bitterly touched her red and swollen lips. After putting on her veil, she asked Luo Tian to call Gong Shifan. Miss, have you thought of a way? Gong Shifan asked. That's right. However, there's something that I need Master Gong's help with. Yi Jioga nodded. She didn't know what Yi Yu's situation was like. She had to make preparations in advance. Miss, if you have any requests, please tell me. Gong Shifan replied. I heard that Master Gong is an expert in refining tools. I want to ask you to help me refine a spiritual tool that can cover up the green miracle pill. Yi Jioga took out a green pearl. Green miracle pill? What kind of treasure is this? Gong Shifan looked at the pill strangely. This green miracle pill specializes in treating blood poison. It can remove the toxins in the human body's blood. It's an excellent pill for detoxifying and nourishing one's skin. Yi Jioga smiled. Miss, what kind of time is this? Why are you still thinking about detoxifying and nourishing one's skin? Gong Shifan was a little angry. Master Gong, don't be angry. Listen to me first. Yi Jioga told him the other use of the green miracle pill. Gong Shifan was immediately pleasantly surprised. This green miracle pill can actually be used like this. Miss, you are indeed a genius in alchemy. Gong Shifan laughed. If I want this green miracle pill to be effective, I need to ask Master Gong to refine a suitable spiritual tool. Yi Jioga had thought of this idea at the last minute. Whether it could be successfully implemented depended on Gong Shifan. What a coincidence. I happen to have a spiritual tool that is very suitable. Gong Shifan loved refining tools. Therefore, he had collected a lot of strange things. He immediately took out a palm-sized black pearl from his Qianquan bag and said, I refined this pearl by imitating the thunder shock pearl. It's a pity that its power isn't that great. However, it's perfect for storing the green miracle pill. Yi Jioga carefully looked at the black pearl. She immediately nodded in satisfaction. This is it. With that, she handed a bottle of green miracle pill to Gong Shifan. Can you put all these green miracle pills into the pearl? Of course, I will do it now. Gong Shifan moved quickly. He only used an hour to do it. When Yi Jioge received the finished product, Yi Yu finally returned from Blood Cloud Peak. Chapter 254. Where's Yi Zi? Yi Jioge looked behind Yi Yu and didn't see Zi Shang. When we came out, we were discovered by the demon corpses. Yi Zi told me to come back first. He'll be here soon, Yi Yu answered. Oh, then did you find Skinny Monkey? Is he willing to help us? Yi Jioge quickly asked. Yes, he's willing to help us. Yi Yu nodded. It was obvious that Skinny Monkey loved his sister deeply. When he heard that Yi Yu wanted to capture Si Yuyue and exchange her for his sister, he immediately agreed to help. He agreed so easily. Could it be a trap? Yi Jioge couldn't help but think of a conspiracy. It's not a trap. Yi Zi tested Skinny Monkey's sincerity, Yi Yu said. Then it's fine. Yi Jioge didn't worry about Zi Shang's demon eyes. Skinny Monkey and I agreed to act in 3 days. 3 days later was the day the blood lotus bloomed. It was their last chance. Okay, inform Junichen later. Tell him to cooperate with us, Yi Jioge ordered. Junichen hated outsiders and spiritualists, so he always acted alone. But with his abilities, it was no problem for him to stay in the mountain protection formation alone. I'll go now. Not long after Yi Yu left, Zi Shang returned. Little Jioge, did you miss me? Zi Shang hugged Yi Jioge and kissed him. Yi Jioge endured it and finally pushed Zi Shang's head away. That's enough. Far from it. Zi Shang kissed him again. Such a good opportunity didn't come by often. Far from it. Let me ask you, are you sure Skinny Monkey really wants to help us? She would feel uneasy if she didn't confirm it with Zi Shang. Absolutely. Just wait to take down Bloodthirsty Sect. Zi Shang squinted his eyes and smiled. Once Yi Jioge took down Bloodthirsty Sect, it would be Zi Shang's turn. Okay. Yi Jioge excitedly slapped Zi Shang's thigh and mercilessly pushed him away. He ran to the camp to discuss the next plan with Gong Shifan. Zi Shang was already used to Yi Jioge's change of heart, so he stealthily followed. In the spiritualist's camp, Gong Shifan nodded after hearing Yi Jioge's plan. Okay, we'll do as you say. Then let's gather everyone and announce this good news. Yi Jioge laughed. Gong Shifan called Gong Honglei over and asked him to gather all the spiritualists before he left with Yi Jioge. Bailey Moyun and Nan Gongli stood together, winking at Yi Jioge from afar. Yi Jioge originally wanted to return a smile, but when he saw Zi Shang's solemn handsome face, he immediately changed his attitude and avoided it. Third uncle, everyone is here. Gong Honglei was implying that he could speak now. Everyone, the blood lotus will bloom in 3 days. It is also our last chance. Fortunately, young Lady Yi has finally found a way to break the mountain guarding formation, Gong Shifan said loudly. When the spiritualists heard the news, they began to discuss it. Is there really a way? Are you trying to fool us? Gong Shifan waited for everyone to finish their discussion before he raised his hand and pressed it down. The spiritualists immediately quietened down. Gong Shifan then nodded at Yi Jioge. Yi Jioge took a step forward and said, although I have a way to break the mountain guarding formation, this method requires everyone to unite. After she finished speaking, she glanced at the spiritualists. It was obvious that she did not believe them. Young Lady Yi, don't look down on us. Although we quarrel, we also know what is important. Now that we are facing a great enemy, if we don't unite, we will die. Even if we want to leave, it is impossible. Su Sun Er said pragmatically. That's right, that's right. Sun Shufeng and the other spiritualists agreed. In this kind of situation, whoever did not unite would definitely be beaten to death. Since it is like this, then I will talk about my method. I have a spiritual weapon that can affect the mountain guarding formation. As long as we use this spiritual weapon well, we will be able to break the mountain guarding formation and kill our way into the Blood Cloud Peak, Yi Jiuge said directly. What weapon is so powerful? Wang Haoqiang poked Sun Shufeng who was standing beside him and asked softly. You ask me, who should I ask? Sun Shufeng replied snappily. He and Wang Haoqiang were not on good terms. Senior brother Sun, you are an expert of the Seven-Ask Pavilion. You have always studied spiritual weapons. Are you not curious? Lin Yanxi said with a soft smile. After she and Wang Haoqiang were taught a lesson by Yi Jiuge, they became a lot more honest. At this time, they only dared to encourage others to ask. They did not dare to say anything. Junior sister Lin is too kind. To be honest, Sun Shufeng was also very curious about this spiritual weapon. He immediately started to jeer with the other spiritualists. What kind of spiritual weapon is so powerful? Quickly take it out and let us see. This spiritual weapon's power is extraordinary. Every time it is used, it will be damaged. Therefore, I set up a seal on it. It can only be opened when it is used. Yi Jiuge took out a black box the size of a palm, raised it up for everyone to see, then immediately put it back and said, but the problem now is that this spiritual weapon must be placed in the life position of the formation in order to be effective. Who is willing to complete this task? Since it is Miss Ye's spiritual weapon, why don't you place it yourself? Sun Shufeng asked doubtfully. When the spiritual weapon activates its power, the great mountain guarding formation will shake for a moment. Only I can seize this opportunity to bring everyone out. Therefore, the installation of the spiritual weapon can only be done by someone else. Yi Jiuge said. Everyone looked at each other. No one said anything. This task that required them to go deep into the enemy camp was undoubtedly very dangerous. They did not have this kind of confidence. Bailey Moyun was about to volunteer himself, but Nan Gongli pulled on his sleeve. He looked strangely at Nan Gongli, but Nan Gongli shook his head slightly. He looked like he wanted him to wait and see. Bailey Moyun thought that Nan Gongli was worried about his internal injuries. Just as he was about to say that he was fine, Gong Xiaofan stood up and said in a deep voice, "This task is indeed very dangerous. Since it is like this, let me lead the team. Grandmaster Gong is really righteous. Who do you plan to bring with you? After all, when you place the spiritual weapon, you will need someone to protect you." Yi Jiuge asked hypocritically. Let's split up like before. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang will go with me. Gong Xiaofan said very naturally. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang were overjoyed when they heard this. Gong Xiaofan actually wanted to bring them with him for such an important task. He really wanted to die quickly. If they did not kill Gong Xiaofan and snatch the spiritual weapon, they would be calling themselves spies. Third uncle, why don't I go with you? Gong Honglei said anxiously. For such an important task, he did not believe that Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang could protect his third uncle. When Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang heard this, their hearts immediately tightened. They were really afraid that Gong Xiaofan would change his mind. Chapter 255. No need. When I'm not here, just help Lady Yi manage the team. Gong Xiaofan refused decisively. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang were relieved. They quickly promised Gong Honglei, "Senior Gong, don't worry. We'll complete the task seriously." All right. At this point, Gong Honglei could only nod. Everyone, rest for a while. We'll start rehearsing the formation breaking later. Gong Shifan waved his hand and dismissed the spiritualists. Yes. The spiritualists were excited to see hope. They gathered together to discuss how to kill all the evil cultivators from the bloodthirsty sect after breaking the formation tomorrow. Ali, why didn't you let me go just now? Bailey Moyun hugged Nangong Li's neck and asked. Because you're stupid. Nangong Li glanced at Bailey Moyun and left. Hey, what do you mean? Bailey Moyun rushed over unhappily but was pulled by Nangong Li to hide behind a big tree. Ali, do you have feelings for me? Bailey Moyun widened his peach blossom eyes. Although Ali was very handsome, he still liked women more than women. What nonsense are you thinking? Nangong Li coldly grabbed Bailey Moyun's head and turned it to the left. Bailey Moyun glanced over and saw that Lin Yanxi was standing there in a desolate manner. She had a self-pitying look on her face. Ali, do you like this type? Bailey Moyun looked like he was swallowing a fly. He did not agree with Nangong Li at all. Can your pig brain think of something useful other than love? Nangong Li really wanted to pry open Bailey Moyun's head and wash it. If you don't like her, why did you pull me to peep? Bailey Moyun muttered. His thoughts were normal. Don't make a sound. Watch carefully, Nangong Li said softly. Bailey Moyun knew that Nangong Li had always been serious and would not do anything unnecessary. He calmed down and observed. Lin Yanxi looked around. When she saw that no one was paying attention, she shook her long sleeves and released a yellow earthworm puppet. The earthworm puppet disappeared as soon as it touched the ground. Lin Yanxi returned to the spiritualists as if nothing had happened. Was that earthworm puppet embedded with a sound transmission stone? Bailey Moyun asked with a frown. Yes. Nangong Li nodded. So, she's a spy? Bailey Moyun's eyes widened. Other than spies, who would send a voice transmission to the outside world at such a sensitive time? Nangong Li continued to nod. No, I have to tell Grandmaster Gong immediately. Bailey Moyun wanted to leave, but he was stopped by Nangong Li. They should already know. Bailey Moyun was taken aback, but he quickly understood the key points. So, the mission just now was a trap? That's why Ali didn't let him volunteer. That's right. We just need to cooperate with Miss Yi. Nangong Li nodded. Ali, how did you know that she was a spy? Bailey Moyun looked at Nangong Li in admiration. He really hadn't noticed at all. Because my eyes only see the truth, not filth. It was rare for Nangong Li to say such a long sentence. He turned around and left Bailey Moyun, who had a gloomy expression on his face. Within Blood Cloud Peak. Bloodthirsty Ancestor and Si Yuyue had already received the news from Lin Yanxi. There's actually such a magical spirit tool. We must get it. Si Yuyue said in surprise. Formations were very profound. Their Een Corp sect wasn't good at it. Normally, they would attack by force. If there was such a spirit tool that could affect the operation of formations, Elder Cho Sen would definitely be very happy. At that time, there would definitely be a lot of rewards. I think so too. Bloodthirsty Ancestor agreed on the surface, but in his heart, he felt that he had missed such a treasure. Is that so? Why do I feel that Ancestor doesn't seem willing? Si Yuyue said with a faint smile. Lord Emissary really likes to joke. Oh right, we caught a male and a female spiritualist yesterday. It said that they are disciples of Dan Yang's sect. Lord Emissary, are you interested in going with me to take a look? Bloodthirsty Ancestor smiled and changed the topic. Okay, then let's go together. Si Yuyue readily agreed. The two arrived at the prison that imprisoned spiritualists. Standing at the door, they heard a sharp female voice shouting, "Do you know who my grandfather is? How dare you capture me? Do you believe that I won't tell my grandfather to kill you? Junior sister, stop shouting. Xiao Xiaohua weakly advised. Shut up. If it weren't for trash like you, I wouldn't have been captured by them. Yu Lingjun hysterically screamed, these evil practitioners don't see women as human beings. If they taint my innocence, my grandfather will definitely not forgive you. Xiao Xiaohua was weak. He really didn't have the energy to coax the crazy Yu Lingjun. I'm not interested in trash like this. Si Yuyue looked down from the small window of the prison cell. One look at Xiao Xiaohua's cowardly appearance and she knew that his skills in bed were definitely not good. TSK, I haven't seen such an ugly female spiritualist in a long time. Bloodthirsty ancestor shook his head. He also had no interest in Yu Lingjun. Forget it. Keep it. Maybe it will come in handy in the future. Si Yuyue said thoughtfully. Then keep it. Bloodthirsty ancestor also turned around and left. Spiritualist Alliance Station. Su Sun Er, Xia Chensi, and other spiritualists were desperately practicing their attack coordination. Although they were arrogant, they were still from large sections. They more or less had some ability. When they worked together seriously, their power increased greatly. Even Yi Jioga had to admit that these disciples from large sects didn't only know how to talk. Some basic formation coordination was still very powerful. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang also practiced with them. Seeing the scattered soldiers in front of them gradually forming and becoming stronger and stronger, they felt a bit scared. Wang Haoqiang couldn't help but secretly ask Lin Yanxi out in the middle of the night. Junior sister Lin, do you think this mountain guarding formation will really be broken by them? Wang Haoqiang asked worriedly. The stronger these guys were, the harder it would be for them to complete the mission. The mountain guarding formation isn't that easy to break. Lin Yanxi shook her head. She then took out a sound transmission stone from her Qiankuan bag and said, Ancestor has already ordered that Lady Messenger wants us to get that spirit weapon at all costs. Wang Haoqiang took the sound transmission stone and listened. He smiled and said, okay, when we kill Gong Xiaofan, we will take his corpse to show our respect to the Yin Corps sect's envoy. Maybe she will take us back to the Yin Corps sect. Now that their whereabouts had been exposed, it would be very difficult to return to their original sect. They had to find a suitable next sect. In any case, he had stayed in the 7-possibility pavilion branch for long enough. This righteous sect did everything with their hands and feet tied. Occasionally, he would catch a tender little girl, but he couldn't play to his heart's content. If he could go to the Yin Corps sect, he wouldn't have to worry about anything. Chapter 256. Senior apprentice brother is right. Lin Yanxi smiled tenderly as she brushed away the hair that had fallen from her forehead. During this period of time, she didn't dare to take blood pills. Her white and flawless skin was starting to look a little pale and sallow. Even small wrinkles were starting to appear. She was not like Su Sun Er and Xia Chensi. They were real budding youths, but she was an old woman disguised as a young girl. Without the blood pill, she would soon reveal her true colors. The thought of becoming old and ugly made Lin Yanxi want to kill and drink blood. They made up their minds to go to the Yin Corps sect, so they began to discuss how to kill Gong Xiaofan and steal the spirit artifact. The two of them discussed happily, but they did not know that their every move was being watched by Yi Jioga and Gong Xiaofan. Master Gong, you must be careful. Don't fall into their trap, Yi Jioga warned worriedly. We already know what kind of conspiracy they are playing. If we fall for it again, wouldn't we be stupid? Gong Xiaofan laughed twice, not putting Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang in his heart. Master Gong, the bloodthirsty sect has always been cunning. You should be careful. Yi Yu could not help but advise him. He definitely had the right to speak on this matter. Yes, I will be careful. Gong Shifan quickly corrected his attitude. After all, bloodthirsty sect's protective mountain formation was not so easy to deal with. If he was careless and fell for it, then his reputation would be ruined. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of departure. Gong Shifan and Yi Jioge led the spiritualists to the foot of Blood Cloud Peak. The red mist around the protective mountain formation was even thicker. Clumps of blood-colored clouds were densely packed together, giving off a buzzing sound. It was even more terrifying than before. Su Sun Air could not help but swallow her saliva, and her palms could not help but sweat. Xia Chensi could not stop trembling, and the other male spiritualists were not much better. Although they had already broken through the array formation once before, at that time, newborn calves were not afraid of tigers. They simply did not know how terrifying the mountain guarding array was. Now that they were prepared, they were a little afraid. Don't be afraid, just follow the previous training. Yi Jioge saw that Su Sun Air was not confident, so he comforted her. Su Sun Air nodded. Over the past few days, Yi Jioge had proven himself with his strength. Although Su Sun Air and the others did not dare to put down their pride to get close to her, they still admired her in their hearts. Follow me closely. Yi Jioge commanded and led Luo Tian and Yi Yu into the red mist. Bailey Moyun and Nangong Li split into two wings and followed her in. His vision was filled with red, miasma filled the air, and a pungent stench assailed his nostrils. However, the expected attack did not come. It was as if the blood mosquitoes had disappeared. What's going on? Yi Yu frowned. The last time they entered the array, they were immediately attacked. Beware of traps. Yi Jioge warned as he advanced even more cautiously. What are you trying to do? You're clearly trying to lure the enemy in, okay? Zishang laughed disdainfully. Yi Jioge realized that Zishang was definitely an expert at ruining the atmosphere. Such a tense and strange atmosphere that could erupt at any moment came out of his mouth as easily as if he was on an outing. Yi Jioge couldn't help but be glad that he had purple deceased stealth all this time. Otherwise, those spiritualists would definitely be killed by him. Young Mistress Yi, what should we do next? Bailey Moyun, who was on the left, asked in confusion. Continue forward. Yi Jioge quickened her pace and advanced towards the mountain protecting array's life gate. After walking for another incense stick's time, there was still no movement from the blood mosquitoes. At this moment, Zishang suddenly said, "There's an ambush ahead." Yi Jioge opened her spiritual eye and looked carefully. She saw that there were countless dense blood-colored figures halfway up the blood cloud peak. It turned out that the bloodthirsty sect was preparing to launch a sneak attack. Everyone, stay alert. Yi Jioge immediately took out her thunder snake illusionary whip. The whip transformed into a purple lightning snake that revolved above her head. Yi Yu and Luo Tian also became alert. Lil, Red and Black Tyrant stood by their sides to protect them. Bailey Moyun and the rest moved slightly slower. Suddenly, a loud buzzing sound came from halfway up the blood cloud peak. A huge blood cloud with a pungent stench rushed over. F***ck, what's that smell? It stinks to death. Bailey Moyun had never smelled such a stench in his life. He almost vomited. He hurriedly sealed the position of his nose aperture, but he felt dizzy. At this moment, a clear chirp sounded. Xiao Tao flapped her wings and stood on top of Bailey Moyun's head. She looked like she could hold back 10,000 enemies by herself. Ever since she found out that her stupid master was raising a small three-cloud leopard, Xiao Tao had been very proactive. She finally had a chance to make a contribution. Good job, Xiao Tao. Continue. Bailey Moyun praised and took out his dragon-slaying sword to attack the blood cloud. Xiao Tao proudly let out bird chirps again and again, breaking through the hallucinogenic effects of the miasma. Su Sun Air, Xia Chenxi, Sun Shufeng, and the other spirit practitioners immediately regained their senses and took out their spirit tools to attack the blood mosquitoes. Seeing how powerful Xiao Tao was, Su Sun Er could not help but be tempted. She had never thought of raising a spirit beast before because it was too troublesome and expensive. But goo worms were different. They had high spirituality, didn't eat much, and looked cute. They were worth raising. Her mind was distracted, and the movements of her hands slowed down a little. At this moment, a strange blood light was mixed in the blood cloud. It sinisterly attacked Su Sun Er's head, but she did not notice it at all. Yi Jioga was always on guard against the sneak attack of the bloodthirsty sect disciples. Seeing this, he whipped out his Thunder Snake illusionary whip and extinguished the sneak attack in time. Su Sun Er came back to her senses and broke out in a cold sweat. She quickly thanked Yi Jioga. "Be careful." Yi Jioga replied, then raised his voice and yelled to the crowd, "Everyone, be careful of the bloodthirsty sect disciples' sneak attacks. Damn, sneak attacks. Wait for me to rush in and kill them all." Sun Shufeng shouted and shot out colorful spirit lights. This guy was also a weirdo. He usually looked like he was afraid of trouble, but once he was on the battlefield, he became braver the more he fought. He used a low-grade 1000 chance umbrella vigorously and constantly changed. The spirit light it emitted was like a rainbow, blasting out skeletons from the blood cloud. "Kill them all." The other spirit practitioners also yelled in unison. Although the spirit practitioners' morale was high, the bloodthirsty sect disciples were too cunning. The hidden weapons they shot out were all hidden in the blood mosquitoes, so it was very difficult to detect. Luckily, Yi Jioga's eyes were sharp enough. He instantly turned into a mobile force to save the situation, so there were not too many casualties. "Eldest young lady, how far are we from the life gate?" Gong Honglei asked as he killed. "Not far. Everyone, follow me to kill." Yi Jioga swung his Thunder Snake illusion whip and blasted a bloody path in the blood cloud. He led the spirit practitioners forward. Seeing this, the bloodthirsty sect disciples immediately increased their attacks and commanded the blood mosquitoes to attack crazily. Yi Jioga and the others stepped on the thick blood mosquito corpses and finally reached the life gate safely. The blood mist in front of them was as thick as water. From above, it looked like a deep red lake, which made people shudder. Chapter 257. In front of us is the life gate. Master Gong, you have to go by yourself. Yi Jioga looked at Gong Shifan meaningfully. Be careful. Gong Shifan looked deeply at the strange and terrifying red mist in front of him. Without saying anything, he walked forward. Lin Yanxi and Wang Hao forcibly suppressed the joy in their hearts and immediately followed Gong Shifan. The red mist immediately drowned the two of them. They could no longer see their figures. Bailey Moyun knew that the two were spies and couldn't help but worry about Gong Shifan. But since everyone was worried, he didn't seem special. "Eldest miss, are we going to wait here?" Gong Honglei asked nervously. "No, everyone attack the bloodthirsty sect with me now," Yi Jioga said. Yi Yu and Skinny Monkey had already agreed on a place to break the formation. They were just waiting for them to attack. "Now?" Gong Honglei frowned. "Third uncle just went in. The chance to break the formation is only an instant. We have to prepare to attack now." Yi Jioga couldn't explain to Gong Honglei that the spirit weapon was a trap for the spies in front of all the spiritualists. "No, I have to wait for third uncle to come out." Gong Honglei shook his head stubbornly. Yi Jioga cursed inwardly. She had seen Gong Honglei's stubbornness before. This was troublesome. There was no time to explain in detail to Gong Honglei. Should he knock him out and take him away? Just as Yi Jioga was considering this possibility, Bailey Moyun suddenly stood up. No way. Bailey Moyun was going to cause trouble? Yi Jioga immediately felt a headache. Unexpectedly, Bailey Moyun looked at Gong Honglei with a serious expression and said, "Honglei, did you forget what Master Gong said before we left? He asked you to help eldest miss manage the team. Is this how you help? I'm just worried about third uncle." Gong Honglei was anxious. He definitely had no intention of going against Yi Jioga. Master Gong will be fine. You should trust him. Yi Jioga comforted. But Gong Honglei didn't know how to express his unease. He had a feeling that something was going to happen to third uncle. Honglei, eldest miss is our leader now. Military orders are like mountains. You can't bargain. Bailey Moyun knew that Yi Jioga's plan couldn't be delayed. He could only harden his heart and speak harshly to Gong Honglei. That's right. Nan Gongli also stood up to support Yi Jioga. With these two expressing their stance, Su Sun, Xia Chenxi, Sun Shufeng, and the other spiritualists also expressed their support for Yi Jioga. Some spiritualists who wanted to curry favor with Yi Jioga directly asked Gong Honglei to stay while they followed Yi Jioga. Yi Jioga looked at Gong Honglei awkwardly. Of course, she couldn't just leave him here. Fortunately, Gong Honglei quickly sobered up and said to Yi Jioga in shame, "Mo Yun is right. You are our leader now. I should listen to you. Alright, then let's go." Yi Jioga said as he led everyone towards the direction of the Death Gate. "Eldest miss, that is the Death Gate." Gong Honglei was stunned. The Death Gate was a place of no return. "I know. Don't worry, just follow me." Yi Jioga nodded. The most dangerous place was also the safest place. With Skinny Monkey acting as a spy, even the gates of death could be turned around. Gong Honglei still wanted to say something, but Bailey Moyun tugged on his sleeve. "Trust eldest miss," Bailey Moyun said resolutely. Gong Honglei was stunned. When did Bailey Moyun and Yi Jioga become so close? "She is the leader," Bailey Moyun added. Gong Honglei didn't say anything else. Yi Jioga finally let out a sigh of relief. She was extremely grateful to Bailey Moyun. If it wasn't for Bailey Moyun's persuasion, she wouldn't know how much longer she would have to talk to convince Gong Honglei. When the bloodthirsty sect disciples hidden halfway up the mountain saw Yi Jioga and the others rush towards the Death Gate without looking back, they immediately looked at each other. Why did they turn around? Then what should we do next? The Patriarch's order was to take down all the people from the Spiritualist Alliance at the Life Gate. All of the bloodthirsty sect's forces were deployed here. Moving them would be a huge project. Let them leave first. It won't be too late to chase after them after we kill Gong Xiaofan. The disciple in charge of this operation quickly made a decision. Gong Xiaofan, the spiritualist, was still a bigger threat. Thus, the bloodthirsty sect disciples continued to lie in ambush and shot bloody spirit lights at the Life Gate. At the Life Gate, red mist rolled and miasma filled the air. Gong Xiaofan put up a protective spirit light to block the attacks of the bloodthirsty sect disciples and cautiously walked inside. Wang Haoqiang pointed at a very hidden empty space and said, "Master Gong, I think this location is pretty good. Why don't we install the spirit weapon here?" "No rush, let's look around a bit more." Gong Xiaofan shook his head and continued to observe the surroundings. His plan was to wait for the two spies to attack and then throw down the secret spirit weapon and escape. Thus, he had to figure out a way to retreat. Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanqi looked at each other and slowly approached Gong Xiaofan. "Why are you guys getting closer?" Gong Xiaofan frowned and said, "Spread out and find a good spot." "Yes, yes, yes." Wang Haoqiang and Lin Yanqi didn't dare to face Gong Xiaofan directly. They could only split up and pretend to look for a good spot. As time passed, the attacks of the bloodthirsty sect disciples became fiercer and fiercer. Gong Shifan had a high cultivation level, so he naturally wasn't afraid. However, they couldn't resist anymore. The bloody spirit lights of the bloodthirsty sect disciples wouldn't avoid them. "We can't wait any longer." Lin Yanxi gave Wang Haoqiang a look. The old ancestor gave each of them a box of fireballs. He originally wanted to ambush Gong Shifan while he was installing the spirit weapon, but he couldn't wait any longer. Wang Haoqiang received the notification and immediately used his spirit power to activate the fireballs and throw them at Gong Shifan. There was a loud bang. Flames soared into the sky, and the red mist burned until it emitted a pungent smell. Lin Yanxi and Wang Haoqiang pounced at Gong Shifan at the same time to kill him. Gong Shifan was already prepared and immediately used the 100 Eyes spirit mirror to block their attacks. At the same time, he pretended to be angry and shouted, "What is the meaning of this?" "Apologies, Master Gong. This is our duty, so please come with us to the bloodthirsty sect." Lin Yanxi revealed a fake smile. The fragrant spirit handkerchief in her hand exploded with a hazy white light and tightly trapped Gong Shifan's 100 Eyes spirit mirror. Wang Haoqiang took the opportunity to throw dozens of fireballs at Gong Shifan. The two of them had discussed many times in private on how to attack Gong Shifan, so their cooperation was very powerful. The explosion rumbled, and a large hole appeared in the bloody mist that filled the sky. Gong Shifan seemed to be in a very difficult situation. Even the secret spirit weapon in his hand fell to the ground. He didn't have time to pick it up and turn to escape. He didn't expect that in the red mist behind him, a skinny figure was silently approaching him without him noticing. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.